Family cultivation. My mobile phone traveled through time. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201, Killing the Demon Lord Zumi with a Sword. Boom. On the battlefield, the siege formation was torn apart, and 3 more foundation building monks were killed. Immediately, foundation building monks stepped forward to fill the positions, always maintaining 108 positions, and the foundation of the formation remained unchanged. Cough cough. Liu Rumeng coughed. His face was pale, his hair was disheveled, and there were some bloody marks on his body. He opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of black blood with a foul smell, as if he was poisoned. 2 of the 8 demon kings had been killed, and the other 6 were also spitting blood. At this moment, Zumi Demon Lord had sword wounds on his body, and his breath was also weak. Okay. The face of the Zumi Demon Lord was distorted. Liu Rumeng, I underestimated you. I didn't expect that you have realized the immortality of the golden nature and will definitely enter the golden elixir in 50 years at most, but you still got hit by my Huanquan demon palm and Huanquan corpse poison. I want to see how you can get rid of it. Ahem. Liu Rumeng spit out blood again, trying his best to suppress the injury, and said calmly, I think I can kill 2 more demon lords. I wonder which demon lord is willing to accompany me to the abyss. The faces of many demon cultivators changed drastically. In the fierce battle until now, more than 30 foundation building cultivators and 2 demon lords have died, and the others are also injured. But thinking of the order from the person above, they can't give in. Death is not scary, but life is worse than death. There are many moments when you feel that death is a luxury. Boom boom boom. At this moment, a sharp knife appeared, with the power of UN magnetic field on it, which can cut all things. With a knife, 20 demon cultivators were killed. The siege formation was also broken in an instant. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, Xuanji walked in, his aura bursting out, like the surging of mountains and seas. His figure flashed, and he stood side by side with Liu Rumeng. You still use that talisman? Liu Rumeng said, with a slightly moved expression. Losing a lifespan of 60 years may ruin the path of Taoism. Miss Liu, if you have any explosive secrets, desperate skills, desperate pills, etc., use them quickly. If we don't use them, we may be finished. And the gold medal given to you by Ancestor Jin, use it quickly. Xuanji turned his head and said, I don't have a gold medal. At my level, I have already reached the extreme of the purple mansion. Any desperate skills and desperate pills are useless. Liu Rumeng said calmly. Any explosive secret technique is essentially to squeeze one's own potential. The premise is that there is potential to be tapped. But she is already at the 9th level of the purple mansion, and she is already standing at the ceiling, and there is no potential to squeeze. Some pills that can temporarily increase combat power by 3 to 5 times after taking them. She can hardly improve it a bit after taking them. Miss Liu, do you still have the strength to fight? Xuanji asked. You can still kill 2 more demon kings. Liu Rumeng said domineeringly. I also want to kill a demon king. Xuanji said, you should adjust your breath for a while. Okay. Liu Rumeng nodded, and took an Nirvana pill directly, refining the medicinal power of the pill, and repairing her injuries. The time for adjusting the breath, even if it is only 10 breaths, can restore a little strength, and cause more injuries to the enemy. Looking for death. Zumi Demon King roared, and slashed at Xuanji with the palm. Although he was also seriously injured, he was still powerful. The palm turned into a tide of destruction, drowning everything, and hit Xuanji like a small boat in the sea, which seemed to be overturned and destroyed at any time. This palm slash made Xuanji feel suffocated, and had difficulty breathing. His body was slightly fighting, as if he was instinctively afraid. Xuanji Heavenly Blade. Xuanji activated the Xuanji Heavenly Blade, and about 100,000 Xuanji runes condensed, and turned into a divine sword, which slashed out with one blow. When he reached the 9th level of the purple mansion, he activated this sword again. The power was even more fierce and domineering. Boom boom boom. The two powerful forces clashed together and collided in the void. It was only a stalemate for a moment, and the Xuanji heavenly blade split the palm of the key and slashed towards his palm. The zoomy demon lord slapped out continuously, and the big zoomy palm slammed out one after another. Boom boom boom. Lu Xuanji's body crackled and crackled, and his body was under the force of the counterattack. His internal organs were almost shattered, and the golden stars in his eyes were flashing, and he almost fainted. Zoomy demon lord, so powerful. At this moment, he used the skills to repair his injuries, and took advantage of the situation to inject a stream of ki into his body, and his injuries were recovering little by little. Hey, you are very powerful. But that's all. The zoomy demon lord was slightly surprised. Yellow spring demon palm. The zoomy demon lord took a step forward. You could take this move just now, then take another one, and see how long you can last. He took a step forward, as if the Yellow Spring River was surging, as if the endless Yellow Spring River water had descended from the ninth world to the human world, washing away everything and destroying everything. This palm has not yet been opened, but the terrifying aura and huge power instantly enveloped him completely, making him unable to move. The soul was locked, and could not dodge, so he could only take it hard. Boom. The zoomy demon lord punched out and directly hit Lu Xuanji's head. Extremely dangerous. If he was hit, he would definitely die. The power of the demon lord is so terrifying. This demon monk has practiced for hundreds of years. Whether it is magical skills, grasp of combat opportunities, or means of attack and killing, he is first class and tyrannical. And he only relied on the secret technique to temporarily reach the 9th level of the purple mansion. To be precise, his true essence level has only reached the 9th level of the purple mansion. As for the strength of his body, soul, true essence, combat skills, grasp of combat opportunities, etc., he is far inferior to this demon king. These are fatal gaps. Xuanji heavenly sword, cut. Lu Xuanji took a deep breath and urged the Xuanji heavenly sword again. The power of this magical power increased from the minor stage to the major stage. 100,000 Xuanji runes appeared and gathered together, evolving into a 3-meter long black heavenly sword, which chopped down in the air. The power of the magical power is increasing, but the consumption is also increasing dramatically. In an instant, the 7 layers of true essence in the body were drawn away. Sizzle. With a sound, the Huanquan Ganki was split, the fist was split, and the flesh was split. There was no time to react, and a bloodline appeared at the center of the eyebrows. What a fast knife, said the zoomy demon king, and his body split into 2 and scattered on the ground. He fell on the spot. Plop. After killing the zoomy demon lord with a single blow, Lu Xuanji knelt on one knee on the ground, spitting blood from his mouth, and his body was seriously injured. Let's go. Liu Rumeng took a step forward, hugged Lu Xuanji, and leaped into the sky, about to disappear. Suddenly, a golden palm appeared in the void, with delicate textures on the palm, like a golden mountain pressing down, about to hit Liu Rumeng and Lu Xuanji. At this moment, the first talisman in Lu Xuanji's Danshan was activated, turning into a silver light shield, to resist in the void. He caught the golden palm abruptly, but after a moment, the silver shield shattered. Want to leave? No way. The golden palm snorted coldly, grabbing and pinching in the void, about to pinch the two to death. The next moment, the second talisman in Lu Xuanji's Danshan was activated, taking the 2 people and disappearing without a trace. At this moment, the purple moon demon lord said with a pale face, "Palace master, should we chase them or not?" The golden palm snorted coldly, "It's too late. It's too late to withdraw the troops. The aura leaked just now, and has attracted the attention of some giant masters. We can't stay here for long." The golden palm enveloped the cultivators present, then turned into a small dot and disappeared. Chapter 202, Yellow Spring Corpse Poison. Using the escape technique, he shuttled through the void at an extremely fast speed. After a few breaths, he was thousands of miles away. At the foot of a mountain, Liu Rumeng activated the secret technique to conceal her own aura, perfectly blending in with the surroundings. After putting Lu Xuanji down, she also coughed and spit out a mouthful of poisonous blood. The originally strong aura suddenly wilted and was no longer as powerful as before. Ahem. Thank you very much. If it weren't for you, I would have died in this human calamity. Liu Rumeng smiled and said, the human calamity has passed, and only the heavenly calamity remains. The heavenly calamity is the simplest. It only takes 20 years of preparation to overcome the calamity and achieve the golden elixir. This is what I should do. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have been plotted against. All this has nothing to do with you. Liu Rumeng smiled and said, human calamity is unpredictable. Even if you avoid it this time, there will be a next time. Other calamities can be avoided and resolved, but human calamity cannot be avoided. The more you avoid it, the more severe it will be. But you, with the help of the secret technique, stepped into the 9th level of the Purple Mansion and killed the Zumi Demon Lord. It's no wonder that the master values you, such a monster. It was just luck. Lu Xuanji recalled the moment of the confrontation and commented, whether it is fighting skills or grasping the timing of the battle, Zumi Demon Lord is better than me. His only mistake is that he underestimated me and underestimated the power of the Yuanxi Sky Sword. My true energy is limited and I can only chop once. As long as he uses his body skills to avoid that knife, I will be exhausted. Then he will win. But he chose to activate the Yellow Spring Demon Palm and resist the Yuanxi knife. It's not that he is careless, but the pride of the strong. If he chooses to avoid the strong, there is a reason to explain, but when facing the weak, he chooses to avoid. He simply can't bear it in his heart. Liu Rumeng said, the strong can fail, but they cannot lose self-confidence. When they doubt their own swords, doubt themselves, and their hearts are shaken, are they still qualified to be called strong? Lu Xuanji was speechless and could only change the subject and asked, who is that golden palm? That golden palm is a magic weapon. It is said that a whole master of the Huanquan demon sect refined a nascent soul palm and turned it into a top grade 4th grade magic weapon that can bear part of the power of a giant and cultivator. Liu Rumeng said, this time, the Yu Kingdom's demon cultivators were able to kill their way to the heartland of Chu and ambush us. The fact that there are big shots behind the scenes is only secondary to killing me. The key is that they want to use me to interfere with the master's breakthrough into the nascent soul. My death is just a small matter. If it affects the master's breakthrough, it will be a big bad thing. Will those demon cultivators chase us? Lu Xuanji asked. No. When they were ambushing me, there was a giant and demon cultivator presiding over the Xuanji platform, confusing the Xuanji. That's why I had a whim, and my sense of crisis disappeared, and I fell into their trap. But after the battle just now, the aura of the war has been leaked, and some giant and great cultivators of the Chu state have learned about it. If they don't want to be besieged, they can only escape thousands of miles away and hide after missing a strike. Liu Rumeng said, and coughed again. No more words. I need to heal my wounds. As he said that, he sat aside and began to heal his wounds. Lu Xuanji also coughed and took the test to heal his wounds. The power brought by the crazy demon talisman began to dissipate from the 9th floor of the Purple Mansion, the 8th floor of the Purple Mansion, all the way to the 2nd floor of the Purple Mansion. My cultivation was falling and my heart became empty. That feeling of loss was indescribable. This is the case for all people in the world, who can go up but not down, and can win but not lose. Once the immortals who were high above fell into the mortal world, the desperate environment was enough to make their minds collapse and fall into madness. Once the undefeated geniuses in their lives encountered a certain defeat, they might be unable to recover and completely decadent. Suppressing the impetuousness in his heart, Lu Xuanji coughed again. Not only did his cultivation fall back to the 2nd level of the Purple Mansion, but the feeling of weakness also surrounded his body, as if he had experienced a serious illness. Sickness and colds only exist in the memories of the previous life. But in this life, he had his parents to take care of him in his childhood, and when he grew up, he cultivated immortality and was free from all diseases, so he didn't feel sick. At this time, feeling the weakness of his body, not to mention the ordinary Purple Mansion cultivators, even the cultivators of the 9th level of the Foundation building, could easily kill him. Cough cough. Lu Xuanji coughed again. His body was shaking, and his arms were shaking. He took out a Nirvana pill, and took it directly. The medicinal power of the Nirvana pill was being digested forming a faint nirvana fire inside and outside the body, cooperating with the Bushan Ki to repair the body's injuries, and the injuries were recovering little by little. But suddenly, a yellow airflow surged in the body, colliding with the nirvana fire and extinguishing it. The yellow airflow continued to flow in the body, constantly eroding the blood essence. The yellow airflow was increasing, and the injury not only did not get better, but expanded a little. Puff. Xuanji coughed again, and coughed up a mouthful of blood. At this time, Liu Rumeng also coughed, and the blood she spat out contained a foul odor. Not only did the injury not get better, but it was aggravated. I still underestimated the yellow spring corpse poison. Liu Rumeng said, yellow spring corpse poison is one of the strange poisons of the magic way. It can constantly erode the cultivator's blood and essence, and constantly strengthen the physical body. It is quite difficult to deal with. Even the giant and cultivators feel headache, let alone us. Why not ask for help from Xiang Mountain? Xuanji said, there are many masters in Xiang Mountain. If someone comes to pick us up. No. Liu Rumeng flatly refused. The master is attacking the nascent soul stage. Right now, Xiang Mountain is on high alert. Many magic cultivators, demon cultivators, etc. are eyeing Xiang Mountain covetously. The attack on us this time is also an attempt to lure the tiger away from the mountain and create loopholes in Xiang Mountain's defense. You are the disciple of Patriarch Jin. Xuanji said. I'm not. I'm just a maid of the master. Liu Rumeng said, as if recalling something. At that time, I was just an orphan. My parents were just low-level casual cultivators. My parents were killed outside, leaving me alone. I lived by begging on the streets and robbing food from wild dogs. At that time, I met the master, and the master took me in and became one of the master's sword maids. I only have 4 spiritual roots and limited prospects, but the master taught me the 4-symbol sword sutra, helped me build the foundation, and helped me condense the top-grade purple mansion. But I'm not good enough to become the master's disciple. It was you. The first time the master spoke, the first time he intended to recruit you as a disciple, but it was also the first time he was rejected. When he said this, he looked at Xuanji with a hint of complaint. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203, Observing Etiquette. I'm going into seclusion. I'm going to use the power of the 4 symbols to expel the corpse poison of the yellow spring. He pointed his finger at the mountain wall, and the stone wall automatically gave way to form a cave, and he entered it and began to seclude himself. Xuanji, he chose to remain silent in silence. Among the girls he met, Yifixu had the best talent and good comprehension, but she just didn't grow up and had a stubborn personality. Ancestor Jin tried hard to make himself lively and laugh, but he was the most worried and had the most demons in his heart. He was so worried that the idea of revenge almost turned into a demon in his heart. Yi Linglong had the most thoughts and the most distractions. As for Liu Rumeng, she was a little cold, and there was inferiority in her coldness. Especially when facing Ancestor Jin, she was as inferior as the soil on the ground, looking up at the sun. Forget it, I will expel the poison too. I don't believe that the yellow spring corpse poison cannot be broken. At this time, Xuanji did not deliberately expel the poison, but pondered the power contained in the yellow spring corpse poison. It contained the power of the yellow spring, the power of blood evil, and the extreme coldness. It could corrode the essence and blood, corrode the medicinal power of various elixirs, and aggravate the injury. If it is not restrained and expelled, it will be corroded by the yellow spring corpse poison, and turned into pus and blood in 12 hours at most. Pure Yang True Fire. Xuanji's mind moved, and he began to activate the Pure Yang Dao body, and the Pure Yang True Fire. The flames were burning, restraining various yin evil spirits, and naturally restraining the yellow spring corpse poison. Kai. Sure enough, the yellow spring corpse poison was burned by the Pure Yang True Fire, and dissipated little by little. The yellow spring corpse poison was suppressed little by little. It only took 3 days and 3 nights to completely eliminate the yellow spring corpse poison in the body. But at this moment, Lu Xuanji's mind moved, and he thought of yin-yang transformation. He thought of the principle of yin-yang transformation contained in it. With a thought, the pure yang true fire became yang, the yellow spring corpse poison became yin, and the body became the dividing line of yin and yang, evolving into a yin-yang diagram. The yellow spring corpse poison and the pure yang true fire are no longer simply in opposition and conflict, but also have a side of mutual transformation. Kai. As the technique was running, the yellow spring corpse poison turned into nutrients for the pure yang true fire, constantly nourishing and strengthening the pure yang true fire. Every time it ran a circle, the pure yang true fire in the body grew a circle. After an hour, when the yellow spring corpse poison dissipated, the pure yang true fire grew a lot, and the origin of the pure yang Taoist body was also improving. Delicious. Supreme deliciousness. The yellow spring corpse poison, which the world fears like a tiger, is the supreme delicacy in Lu Xuanji's eyes, which can strengthen the pure yang Taoist body. He stood up, his body crackled, and his condition was better than ever. Suddenly, he thought of Liu Rumeng, and was about to enter the cave. Thinking that she was expelling the yellow spring poison, it seemed bad to disturb her, so he might as well wait. But at this time, he heard a painful sound. Lu Xuanji could not bear it any longer, and went directly into the cave. In the cave, Liu Rumeng was meditating to expel the yellow spring corpse poison, but her condition was not good, but very dangerous. She had waves of frost on her body, freezing her body. The vitality in her body was dissipating bit by bit. If she was half an hour later, her life would be in danger. Liu, what's wrong with you? Lu Xuanji asked. Liu. He called several times in a row, but Liu Rumeng did not respond at all, as if she had lost consciousness and lost her perception of the outside world. Liu, Lu Xuanji asked, and patted her shoulder with his palm. But he felt a bone-chilling cold coming, as if to freeze his soul. Frost appeared on his palm. He urged the pure yang true fire and the sword frost dispersed. I'm sorry. Lu Xuanji stepped forward and grabbed Liu Rumeng's hands. When he grabbed those jade-like hands, despite being prepared and using the pure yang true fire to dispel them, frost still appeared on his frozen palms. His body was shivering with cold, as if he had entered winter. The bone-chilling cold seemed to freeze his soul, his blood, and his life force. At this moment, letting go was the best option. But Lu Xuanji gritted his teeth, burned, and urged the pure yang true fire to fight against the endless frost. Kai. The cold still existed, freezing his body and his soul. Lu Xuanji took a deep breath and operated yin-yang transformation, absorbing the power of ice and transforming it into the power of pure yang. His body, which was about to be frozen, warmed up little by little. The warming continued, although the process was very slow, but the transformation continued. After half an hour, the power of ice began to dissipate. Lu Xuanji urged the pure yang fire, and began to explore Liu Rumeng's body, observing her injuries, and then being stunned. The severity of her injuries was beyond his expectations. Yellow spring corpse poison, blood evil power, ice key, ice soul light, absolute yin key, Taiyin evil key, North Pole mysterious light, Cambrian key, etc. 8 kinds of cold key eroded her meridians, stirring her meridians, internal organs, etc., and breaking them into pieces. It seemed that she was almost dead. At the same time, 4 streams of ki surged in Danshan, resisting and melting the 8 cold ki, and finally holding her last breath. What a stubborn girl. Lu Xuanji sighed. The injuries on her body were many times more serious than his. But she did not complain, and even refused to ask for help from Xiang Mountain. Yin-yang transformation. At this moment, Lu Xuanji sighed, and his left hand urged the pure yang fire to enter her body. After wandering around, it entered her body through his right hand. In this in and out, it turned into a mixed yuan, and turned into a yin-yang diagram. The coldness was getting worse, and the surface of her body froze into frost, but Lu Xuanji's expression remained unchanged, enduring, and constantly melting the cold air in her body. As time passed, her body warmed up a lot, and the frost began to dissipate. Hu. Lu Xuanji also breathed a sigh of relief. I'm cold. At this time, Liu Rumeng woke up. Her body was trembling, and she felt the cold. Then, she felt something like a stove. Immediately, she went forward and hugged the stove. Mom, I miss you. Daddy, where are you? I don't want to practice anymore. I want to rest. Liu Rumeng was mumbling, illusion and reality mixed together. Her body and the stove were tightly together, using the stove to dispel the coldness of her body. But at this moment, the stove was struggling, as if resisting. But the more she struggled, the more she hugged the stove tightly. The world was cold, and only the stove could bring warmth and a sense of security. After an unknown amount of time, she became more conscious, and opened her eyes, to look at the stove. She saw the stove. At this moment, she was hugging a man tightly, in close contact, in an extremely shameful state, with her clothes in disarray. The man gave her a warm feeling, which made her addicted and intoxicated. But she still struggled to get away, dressed neatly, and looked normal again. But thinking back to her previous appearance, she was filled with shame and anger. Suddenly she remembered something, and checked her body. Her Yuan Yin was still there, and everything was fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. At this moment, Lu Xuanji and Liu Rumeng said almost at the same time. Chapter 204 No Love. After packing up her clothes and getting everything in order, Liu Rumeng regained her composure and elegance. Thinking back to everything that happened just now, her mind was swaying. This person was indeed polite. Just now, when she was unconscious and took the initiative to approach him, Lu Xuanji could accept it. After all, this was the essence of a female cultivator who was about to achieve the golden core, which would be of great benefit to him. Even if she woke up afterwards, she couldn't be blamed for anything. After all, she took the initiative. Sir, you are indeed polite. Even if you occupied my body just now, it's nothing. If you still want it, you can do it now. Liu Rumeng said, her expression calm, without a trace of ripples. Forget it. Lu Xuanji smiled and said, if you still have feelings for me, it's not impossible for us to enjoy each other. But from my perception, you have no feelings for me. I can't sense a trace of love. Love? Liu Rumeng was slightly surprised and said, rumor has it that only those in the nascent soul stage, with a strong mind and keen perception, can sense the existence of love. But you are only in the purple mansion cultivation, but you sensed love. It's not easy. However, who says that you can't be together without love? In fact, most couples are together without grand and lingering love, but most of the time they just get by, and the tone is mainly plain and dull. Most of the time, husband and wife are birds of the same forest, and they fly away when disaster strikes. This time I survived the human calamity, thanks to you. This is the first time you saved my life. Not long ago, you sacrificed yourself to dissolve the 7 cold poisons for me. This is another life-saving grace. At this point, Liu Rumeng looked a little serious and said, the favor is as big as a mountain. How can I repay it? You don't lack spirit stones and elixirs, and as for other precious things, I can't give them to you. It's better to repay the cause and effect with your body. After these few months of joy, you continue to be the head of your Lu family, and I will continue to be my sword cultivator. It's better to forget each other in the rivers and lakes than to support each other in times of adversity. What is the most sincere love in the world that can compare to supporting each other in times of adversity? What is ruthless that can compare to forgetting each other in the rivers and lakes? As he said, Liu Rumeng approached, and they could feel the heat close at hand, as well as the faint fragrance and the brewing volcanic magma. At this time, the distance was less than a palm. As long as he took another step forward, he could enjoy it to his heart's content and enjoy the body of a beautiful woman. There was no need to bear any price. Everything was taken for granted, and everything came naturally. We are too fast. Lu Xuanji laughed. Fast? Liu Rumeng said, what do you mean by slow? Talk about love for decades, and then say that loving you is a lifetime. You are my world, and live and die for love. I can't do this. In my heart, the Lord is the first, the sword is the second, I'm the third, and love may be the fifth or sixth. If you think it's slow, we can have fun on the bed, and get to know each other. Forget it. Lu Xuanji laughed. What's the difference between love without love and wild sex? Haha. Liu Rumeng laughed. Many humans look down on wild beasts, thinking that humans are superior and wild beasts are inferior. They are not disdainful of the low tastes of wild beasts, but they forget that humans are also wild beasts in essence. Humans are not nobler than wild beasts. I can't argue with you. Lu Xuanji laughed and didn't argue. Are you really going to refuse? Liu Rumeng smiled. Her eyes seemed to see through his essence. Lu Xuanji didn't answer, but took a step back to express his attitude. Among the many women he had contact with, some had lingering feelings, which turned into a love net and entangled him endlessly. Some had intermittent feelings and wanted to break them, but couldn't let go. But only with Liu Rumeng, he didn't feel a trace of love. Okay. Liu Rumeng smiled, took a step back and thought, with a free and easy smile, in this way, the cause and effect have been resolved, don't regret it. After experiencing the embarrassment of this incident, Liu Rumeng quickly regained her composure, as if nothing had happened. Lu Xuanji continued to heal his wounds, but he was subconsciously alienated. 3 days later, he walked out of the cave. He stretched his muscles and bones, and his injuries had healed. Daoyao, I plan to return to Xiang Mountain. As for you, be careful outside. Liu Rumeng said. Okay. Lu Xuanji nodded and said, will those demon cultivators attack the Lu family? No. Liu Rumeng said, because it's not worth it. Demon cultivators will fight with wits and courage, but they will not fight with anger or ruthlessness. If they are low-level key training demon cultivators, they will be used as cannon fodder, but when they reach the foundation building stage in the Purple Mansion, they are of great value and will not be easily sacrificed. Even if they are sacrificed, they must be sacrificed meaningfully. The Lu family is not worth attacking. Killing more than 2,000 key training cultivators, more than 50 foundation building cultivators, and 2 Purple Mansion cultivators is of little significance to the demon cultivators. On the contrary, it will expose their tracks and cause huge losses. Even you are not worth attacking. The so-called genius and the so-called Evaldoer are just illusions for the demon sect bosses. They have seen too many geniuses. A mere Lu Xuanji is not worth their attack. At this point, Liu Rumeng disappeared. Lu Xuanji wanted to say something, but he was silent. He couldn't say, I want to sleep, you should come back. Suppressing the distracting thoughts, he went home. It was just that on the way home, he was much more careful. He didn't dare to fly in the air or walk in a swagger. Instead, he disguised himself as a mortal, trying to be inconspicuous and transparent as much as possible. At the same time, Beidou Map was in a long-term open state, and all the information within a radius of 300 miles was displayed to prevent any possibility of sneak attacks or assassinations. As the price of Beidou Map being open for a long time, Lu Xuanji's true energy was consumed drastically. He had to stop and rest for a while after walking 100 miles to make up for the lost energy. It only takes half a day to fly back home with a sword. But he walked and stopped like this for 3 days before returning to the vicinity of Changyuan Mountain. He opened Beidou Map to observe the situation of the Lu family and also observe the situation of the nearby 1,000 miles. Everything was safe and sound. He breathed a sigh of relief and entered the Lu family. Husband, you're back. Yuanai said. In recent days, the situation has been tense. There was a demon cultivator who sneaked in and had a big fight with a senior. The whole Chu state has issued a wanted order. It is said that there have been several fierce battles. Some demon cultivators were caught and directly executed. In the past few days, there have been hundreds of demon cultivators killed. Some of them are cultivators with good reputations and noble character, and they have also been found to be demon cultivators. Chapter 205 Law Enforcement Elder. After the joy, Yuanai talked about what happened recently. Because of the attack of the demon cultivators from U State, the 3 major sects jointly issued a wanted order to search for the demon cultivators. The intensity was extremely huge. In just a short period of time, countless demon cultivators were caught, and their heads were hung on wooden stakes. The demon cultivators, who were usually vague and hard to find, were caught one after another. There were also some immortal cultivation families who were successively exterminated because of the cultivators in the family who practiced demon skills. As for whether these families really practiced demon skills or were framed, only God knows. There were also some demon cultivators who fought with the righteous cultivators. Although some demon cultivators were killed, there was still a demon cultivator who killed the righteous cultivator, and some demon kings escaped. Recently, the Chu state was in a mess. Is it that serious? Xuanji asked, puzzled. Capturing the demon cultivators is one reason, and some cultivators took advantage of this opportunity to eliminate dissidents. As long as the reason is acceptable and the frame up is not too false, it's alright. Xuanji said, even some of my Yi family were affected. It was found that more than 30 demon cultivators were killed. For this, the Yi family also paid a certain amount of spirit stones as atonement silver. These are not really framing the Yi family, but there are cultivators in the Yi family who are practicing magic skills. The advantage of magic skills is that the requirements for spiritual roots are low, and the speed of practice in the early stages fast. Many cultivators with 5 spiritual roots and 4 spiritual roots are born with low qualifications. They practice the righteous skills. Not to mention building a foundation, it is luck to reach the peak of key training, but if they practice magic skills, they can reach the peak of key training in just 30 years, and have the opportunity to impact the foundation. Not only the Yi family, but many cultivators at the bottom of the cultivation family are practicing magic skills to a greater or lesser extent. Even some foundation building monks and purple mansion monks who have no hope in the path of the Tao are tempted by the speed of magic skills, and practice magic skills to a greater or lesser extent. Some righteous monks simply changed the name of magic skill book, and deleted and modified the content inside, so that it became a righteous skill. As long as there is no large-scale massacre of civilians and human monks, many human high-level officials will turn a blind eye. As for practicing magic skills, the blood, corpses, bones, souls, evil spirits, etc. required can be obtained from monsters. The problem of practicing magic skills can be big or small. If it is big, you can be executed as a magic cultivator. If it is small, it is just a small problem. I'm not practicing immortal magic skills, but immortal divine skills. Do they really practice magic skills and really massacre human civilians? Xuanji asked. Yes. Xuanji sighed and said sadly, some of those Yi family demon cultivators are human traffickers, and they move from place to place after shooting. Some hunt humans, and their methods are extremely covert. Those Yi family demon cultivators kill hundreds of mortals at least, and thousands of mortals at most. There is a Yi family demon cultivator who rose all the way to become a purple mansion cultivator by killing civilians. In the eyes of many people, this Yi family cultivator is a good old man, an honest man, but who would have thought that he would kill thousands of demon cultivators to practice magic? Thinking back to the innocent corpses he saw a few days ago, he wanted to argue a few words, but he was silent. The Yi family is extremely united, and they have always helped their relatives instead of helping others, but when they encounter such a thing, they can only remain silent. They are too cruel. Xuanji said, leaning in his arms, and said sadly, don't be sad. There is great terror between life and death. Between life and death, many kind people cannot stick to the moral bottom line, lose themselves, sink into depravity, and fall into darkness. What we have to do is to kill as much as we can. Let the dead souls rest in peace and let the world have retribution. Xuanji patted Xuanji's back, kissed her forehead, and comforted her. The joy continued, and it took a long time before she got up. Xuanji took out a book and handed it over. Ice Soul Sutra can be cultivated to the 9th level of Yuanying. Xuanji said happily, thank you, husband. Practice well. Yes. Without saying much, Xuanji went to the cave and began to retreat in depth. With the help of this practice, she wanted to transform the water essence in her body into ice essence, familiarize herself with the characteristics of the practice, and better understand the mystery. When she arrived in the hall, she met the elder and asked him about the Yu Kingdom's magic practice. The elder knew more, said more details, and knew some inside stories. Xuanji listened, his expression fluctuated, and he was more relieved. The Lu family is safe. At the beginning, when he learned that the Yu Kingdom's demon cultivators were coming, he was worried that the demon cultivators would attack the Lu family. But after Liu Rumeng heard it, she concluded that the Lu family was safe because there was no value in attacking the Lu family. After ambushing Liu Rumeng, those demon cultivators chose to hide in unknown corners and lie dormant, like turtles, motionless. The Haoshan mirror in the sky above the Chu kingdom was constantly scanning every corner, searching for the breath of the demon path, and it turned out that there were really many demon cultivators. But there was no trace of this group of demon cultivators from the Yu kingdom. It seemed that they had left the Yu kingdom. But some giant ancestors concluded that this group of Yu kingdom demon cultivators must be lurking in a corner. The search is still going on. I don't know when we can catch this group of demon cultivators. Lu Xuanji sighed. It's impossible to catch them. Every time the Haoshan mirror in the sky is activated, a large amount of spirit stones will be consumed. It's impossible to last long. The search can only last for 10 days at most. But those demon cultivators can continue to lie dormant for half a year or even a year. The elder said he was not optimistic about the search operation. Of course, it is not ruled out that those demon cultivators will foolishly show up. But the possibility of this is very low. Demon cultivators are not mentally ill or crazy. As for those crazy people and mentally ill people, they can't become high-level demon cultivators. High-level demon cultivators are often wise and rational. They weigh the pros and cons, and will not act blindly or agitated. Every strike is well organized, and every strike is just right. At this time, a voice came from outside the mountain gate, and thunder rolled. I'm the law enforcement elder of the Danliang sect. The Lu family colluded with demon cultivators to cause trouble to one side, and the family should be exterminated. If the Lu family can't say something today, I will exterminate the Lu family. With the words, endless evil spirits swept in. Storm is coming. Chapter 206, Another Destruction. At this moment, thunder rumbled, and a murderosaurus swept over, saying that the whole family would be wiped out. Senior, this is. The elder was a little panicked. How could my Lu family collude with the demon cultivators? My Lu family is upright. Thinking of some families that were directly wiped out recently because of collusion with the demon cultivators. As for these immortal cultivation families, whether they really colluded with the demon cultivators or pretended to collude with the demon cultivators, there is no conclusion at all, and the conclusion is also made by some people. If the Lu family is really accused of colluding with a certain cultivator, it will inevitably be in danger of being wiped out. Suddenly, the elder thought of a few hundred years ago, the Yi family was almost wiped out by the bandit cultivators, led by the ancestor Yan Yang, but now it is the law enforcement hall that is directly destroying the family, which is more dangerous and more terrifying. After all, although the ancestor Yan Yang is more powerful, he is a casual cultivator after all, and has no big background to rely on. After destroying the Lu family, he was also wanted, and finally fled the Chu state in a hurry, which can be said to be extremely embarrassed, but the law enforcement hall, behind it, is the Danliang sect, and it is natural and reasonable to destroy the family. If the family is really wiped out by the law enforcement hall, it will be destroyed. There will be no chance to rebuild, and even the remaining cultivators can only flee to other countries. The elder was trembling and said, how could my Lu family collude with the devil cultivators? Don't worry, elder, I'll take care of everything. Lu Xuanji said calmly. His tone was calm, but it was very persuasive. The elder's originally anxious heart became calm. What should we do? The elder asked. If the enemy comes, the general will stop it, and if the water comes, the earth will cover it. It's nothing more than not being able to negotiate. It's just a bloody battle. Lu Xuanji said calmly, I want to see what this law enforcement elder wants to do. Remember to activate the formation. Swish. The next moment, Lu Xuanji turned into a stream of light and stood on the top of the mountain with a majestic aura like a mountain. What is the name of this law enforcement elder? The voice rolled like thunder. I'm Zhao Lei, the elder of the law enforcement hall. The Lu family colluded with the demon cultivators to bring disaster to the area, and the family should be exterminated. If the Lu family cannot explain the facts today, I will exterminate the Lu family. Zhao Lei said, thundering with a hint of murderous intent. My Lu family colluded with the demon cultivators. Elder, do you have any evidence? Lu Xuanji asked. There is one piece of evidence. Do you know Lu Xuanxin? Zhao Lei said coldly. Lu Xuanxin, who is this? I don't know him. Lu Xuanji answered directly. But when he heard this name, he felt familiar. He kept searching his memory and recalling, and finally remembered who he was. Lu Xuanxin, this is his eldest brother. This eldest brother of mine has no spiritual roots, so he can only go to the mortal world to live a rich life. After building the foundation, he went to the mortal world to visit this big brother. This eldest brother is already old, over 70 years old, but he already has 6 or 7 wives and concubines, many children and grandchildren, and lives a happy life. After watching the eldest brother, I subconsciously forgot everything about him. Because there is a difference between immortals and mortals. The eldest brother has no spiritual roots and cannot practice. When he reached the age of 80, his lifespan was exhausted, and he died of old age at home. Now, more than 100 years have passed, and the eldest brother's grandson probably died of old age too. It doesn't matter if you don't know him, but you have to recall it carefully. Zhao Lei sneered. Your eldest brother Zhao Xuanxin was originally immortal. He was unknown and ordinary to the extreme before he was 70 years old. But when he was in his 70s, you, the third brother, went to visit him and gave him a magic technique, White Bone Magic Sutra. So he became a magic cultivator and embarked on the White Bone path. In just less than 100 years, he became a great cultivator of the 9th level of the Purple Mansion, and he is not far from proving the golden elixir. In this way, you are here with white gloves, making legal profits for the Lu family. As for your brother Lu Xuanxin, he practices the magic technique and acts as a black glove for the Lu family outside to earn grey profits. You brothers, one inside and one outside, join forces to strengthen the Lu family, and are also gradually eroding my Chu state, becoming the lackeys of the Yu state's magic cultivators, and becoming one of their springboards for invading the Chu state. Even Patriarch Jin was deceived by you, and he didn't know your brother's dark intentions. It's a pity that man's plans are not as good as God's. Not long ago, the demon cultivators of you invaded. You brothers thought your chance had come, and wanted to overthrow our Chu state. Unfortunately, the Haoshan mirror sees through everything, and saw through the demon cultivators' plan. Following the clues, we found out the inside story of your eldest brother's demon cultivation. The collusion between the Lu family and the demon cultivators has also been completely exposed to the world. The Lord of the Law Enforcement Hall has gone to hunt down your eldest brother. Wait a minute, his head will be hung on a stake. Now I give your Lu family a chance to explain. Hand over the Lu family's demon cultivators, and give the Lu family a decent look. Otherwise, the Law Enforcement Hall doesn't mind destroying the Lu family. As he spoke, the aura of the Elder of the Law Enforcement Hall burst out, and the cultivation of the 5th level of the Purple Mansion suppressed it. The surrounding vitality fluctuated violently, as if a 12-level typhoon had descended on Changyuan Mountain. The ground shook, sand and rocks flew, and the aura was overwhelming. I colluded with the demon cultivators. Lu Xuanji laughed. This law enforcement elder, are you out of your mind? My eldest brother is just immortal. Mortals don't have spiritual roots. How can they embark on the path of demon cultivation? Even if you make up a story to deceive people, you have to make it more reasonable. The existence of demon cultivators only lowers the level of immortal cultivators, allowing those with 5 spiritual roots, 4 spiritual roots, etc. to become stronger and have the hope of becoming immortals. But to become a demon cultivator, you must at least have spiritual roots. Without spiritual roots, it is impossible to become a demon cultivator. Haha, your elder brother has a great opportunity and great fortune. He wants to obtain some of the Taoism of the ancient demon kings and transform from a mortal body into a demon king of the 9th level of the Purple Mansion. As for the reason, I don't want to say more. But the law enforcement hall is chasing him, and a giant and elder is chasing him. Your elder brother will definitely die. Zhao Lei sneered. Now open the mountain protection formation and give the Lu family a decent face. Otherwise don't blame me for killing all the Lu family cultivators. Hearing this news, the elder's hands and feet were cold. The other Lu family cultivators were also panicked and terrified, like lambs to be slaughtered. Lu Xuanji looked at this scene, but shook his head in his heart. The Lu family cultivators still lacked blood, like a pile of loose sand. All this was his fault. He protected the Lu family cultivators too well, and they lacked blood. Haha, Xiaolei, you said my eldest brother is a demon cultivator. My eldest brother is a demon cultivator. You said my Lu family colluded with demon cultivators. That's just empty talk. How can you convince people without evidence? Lu Xuanji shouted, I also said that you, Xiaolei, are the illegitimate son of the leader of the Huanquan demon sect and a ghost lurking in my Danliang sect. Chapter 207, Traitors, Die. High in the sky, Xiaolei said murderously, Lu's son, you are courting death. Even the old ancestor Jin dare not admit the crime of colluding with the devil. After she knows that you are a devil, she will not protect you, but will kill you, and draw a clear line. Now I give you a chance. Open the gate of the Lu family and let the monks of our law enforcement hall go in to check and see if there are any monks in your Lu family who practice magic. As long as the Lu family monks do not practice magic, I will kowtow to you to apologize. But if there are Lu family monks practicing magic, I will strictly enforce the law. Do you dare to open the gate and let the law enforcement hall go in to check? 18 monks appeared behind him, including 3 purple mansion monks and 15 foundation building monks, waiting for the Lu family to give an answer. Everyone also looked at Lu Xuanji. It seemed that at this moment, opening the gate and letting the monks of the law enforcement hall check and clearing the Lu family was the best choice. But Lu Xuanji smiled. It was impossible to clear it. The Lu family has more than 2,000 cultivators, and he doesn't know many of them. He only met them once at the annual meeting, and he couldn't even call out their names. He couldn't guarantee that all of the more than 2,000 cultivators in the Lu family were of noble character and outstanding moral character. It was natural for some people to do bad things and practice magic. Since the law enforcement hall was so sure, they must have grasped the evidence and confirmed that there were cultivators in the Lu family who were practicing magic. If the cultivators of the law enforcement hall were allowed to come in for inspection, they would definitely be able to find out the problem. At that time, the Lu family would be colluding with the magic cultivators. Moreover, in a sense, the law enforcement hall did not wrongly accuse anyone. The old demon Hehuan was a great magic cultivator, and the skill he left behind, yin-yang transformation, was a magic skill. Lu Xuanji practiced yin-yang transformation, which was essentially practicing magic skills. In this regard, the law enforcement hall came to the correct answer, based on the wrong reasoning. Haha, could it be that the head of the Lu family is also guilty and practicing magic skills? Xiaolei said angrily. Why do I, Lu Xuanji, need to explain to you everything I have done in my life? Lu Xuanji said, I suspect you are a demon cultivator, but that's not right. There should be a demon cultivator who used the art of disguise and disguised himself as an elder of the law enforcement hall. He wanted to take the opportunity to sneak into my Lu family and then start a massacre on my Lu family. Tell me, who are you talking about? Where is Elder Xiao? Back then, Elder Xiao and I drank together, went to brothels together, and hunted monsters together. We had a close relationship like brothers. When he saw me, he would call me his dear brother. But when you saw me, you found fault with me and didn't like me, no matter how you looked at me. You also slandered my Lu family for colluding with demon cultivators. That brother Xiao is not like that. Who are you, and why did you disguise yourself as my brother Xiao? Tell me, what did you do to my brother Xiao? You cruelly killed him. Brother Xiao, if you are unfortunately killed, I will raise your wife and daughter. When Lu Xuanji started to say this, his face was still red, but as he spoke, his words became more and more fluent and more convincing, as if he was really close to Xiao Changleo of the law enforcement hall, just like a brother. It seemed that the Xiao Changleo in front of him was a fake, a demon cultivator in disguise. Xiaolei was so angry when he heard this. He lied with his eyes open and didn't blush at all. How could a person be so shameless? They were brothers in life and death, and drank together. How could I not know? Telling lies to a real person and directly calling a real person a fake person. How shameless is this? Even the monks of the law enforcement hall around him looked at him with suspicion, as if he was really a demon cultivator pretending to be one. In anger, he wanted to explain, but this thing could not be explained. The more he explained, the more suspicious it became. He took out a token with the word law enforcement written on it. Lu Xuanji practices magic, and he deserves death, but the Lu family is innocent. Now I give you a chance. Open the mountain gate, lay down your weapons, and only kill Lu Xuanji. The rest of the Lu family can be pardoned. The voice rolled down and fell into the Lu family mountain gate. Many cultivators in the mountain gate heard it. The original will to fight to the death has subsided a lot. Many Lu family cultivators looked at the patriarch with desire in their eyes. Patriarch, if you practice magic, you shouldn't implicate the Lu family. Patriarch, for the Lu family, it's time for you to sacrifice. Sacrifice one person to protect the Lu family, and I for a good cause. Patriarch, don't be too selfish. Patriarch, we should invite the law enforcement all to come in. Right and wrong will be made clear soon. At this moment, the Lu family cultivators spoke up one after another and persuaded. There is great terror between life and death. In the face of death, many people's IQ will continue to decline, even to the point where they are not as smart as pigs. Lu Xuanji did not argue or pay attention to anything, but looked at the elder, as if asking the elder what to do. This is also Lu Xuanji's habit. When he is undecided, he asks the elder. The elder's heart skipped a beat, and he felt that things were going to get bad. Someone was naive, but not stupid. Someone was good to the family, but he was not allowed to be bullied by the world. If you really think that a tiger does not show its power, just treat him as a cat, which can only meow. It seems that in recent years, some monks have lived too well, and have lost their awe in their hearts. After losing awe, their IQ has also declined. Let this old bone take action to correct some mistakes. Shut up. The elder said, traitors, die. The elder drew out his sword, the sword light flashed, and he killed a shouting monk with one sword. He killed another shouting monk with another sword. Kill one with one sword, never use the second sword. You can't kill me, I call you grandpa. You can't kill me, my father fought for the family. Father, you can't kill me, I'm your son. Husband, you can't kill me, I'm your Xianglan. Some monks of the Lu family screamed, shouted, and gave reasons. But the elder's expression did not change, and he was merciless. He would kill you, if he said he would kill you, and he would never listen to your nonsense. So what if you have merits? I will kill you anyway. So what if you are a relative? It's been 5 generations. You remember me, I can't remember you. So what if you have a son? Only one son is valuable, but now there are hundreds of sons. Sons are not valuable. So what if you have concubines? I have dozens of concubines. One more is not much, one less is not much. Kill, kill, kill. One by one, the bodies fell, and blood flowed, and soon the bodies fell to the ground, one after another. Many monks of the Lu family were stunned and afraid. They looked at the elder with fear, and they were even more afraid of the patriarch. The patriarch looked at all this indifferently, as if he was watching a group of ants die. Along with death, death made some people's IQs continue to rise, and their IQs began to be above the average, but it was too late. Chapter 208, War begins again. Soon, more than 200 bodies fell to the ground, including men and women. The youngest was only 7 years old, and the oldest was 130 years old. Don't say that children speak without restraint. Saying the wrong thing can kill people. Many cultivators just muttered and hugged, and then they were killed by the sword. In all the previous wars, there were not as many people killed as this time. This is the fate of traitors. Within 3 generations, they will be demoted to slaves and their spiritual roots will not be checked. Who else is not convinced? The elder said murderously. Everyone was silent. Who else is not convinced? The elder asked again. Understood. Everyone responded, and the responses were uneven. The elder was very disappointed when he heard it, as if he was looking at a group of sheep. There were many people, but they were weak in combat power, and were born to be meat. He hoped to hear the Lu family cultivators fight back against him, and asked him why. At least, this has the capital for internal fighting. Or the world. When he killed those cultivators just now, they gathered together to resist him, and besiege him together. Unfortunately, they didn't. They just argued and begged for mercy, and their resistance was also scattered and not cohesive. This generation of Lu family cultivators were all useless, just a group of sheep. That's all. If this generation is useless, there is still the next generation. He still has more than 200 years to live, and there is still time to train the next generation. What a ruthless person. He killed directly and broke my provocation plan. In the sky, Zhao Lei happened to see the scene of the Great Elder killing people, and he admired him a little. Is his provocation plan clever? Not clever at all, but very simple. But under the threat of death, many people would take it for granted. However, before Xuanji could make a move, the Great Elder took care of everything. Looking at the ugly appearance of the group of cultivators, he also despised the Lu family. The Lu family only relied on a clan leader and a Great Elder to support the situation. As for the remaining cultivators, they were all mediocre and useless, and there was no successor to the Lu family. Lu Xuanji, will you open the mountain gate or not? Zhao Lei issued an ultimatum. You evil thief, you killed my brother Zhao, and disguised yourself as him to do evil. How pitiful. Brother, I will avenge you. Lu Xuanji continued to talk nonsense. In short, in one sentence, you say your reason, I say my reason. You can say anything, but I won't talk about reason. You said that the Lu family colluded with the evil cultivators and wanted to enter the Lu family to check the evil cultivators. I said how close my relationship with brother Zhao was, and that this Zhao Lei in front of me was dressed as an evil thief. You say yours, I say mine, but I won't enter the same dialogue channel with you. Kill. At this moment, a token appeared in Zhao Lei's hand, and the token turned into a golden palm, slashing towards the formation in the air. Boom boom boom. The mountain protection formation only lasted for 3 moments before it was shattered. The Lu family's mountain protection formation has been upgraded to the peak of level 3, but it can't withstand the attack of a golden elixir master. When the formation was broken, Zhao Lei led 15 monks from the law enforcement hall to attack the Lu family. When he opened his mouth, he shouted, the Lu family colluded with the demon cultivators, and the family should be exterminated. Kill. Lu family sons, our Lu family is facing a life and death crisis. We must fight to the end and leave a glimmer of hope for future generations. Everything should proceed according to plan. The elder shouted and began to give orders. In the history of thousands of years, the Lu family has encountered the crisis of extermination many times, and many major events have contingency plans. Purple Mansion monks and foundation building monks resisted in front, and key training monks could choose to flee, only after resisting for a while. Foundation building monks were qualified to retreat. Relying on the resources of the family, those monks broke the shackles and achieved foundation building. They owed the family karma in the dark, and they had to resist in front to fight for a glimmer of hope for the evacuation of future generations. With the call of the elder, more than 30 foundation building monks gathered together immediately, organized into a simple sword formation, and resisted the monks from the law enforcement hall. A single foundation building cultivator is naturally weak, but when more than a dozen foundation building cultivators join forces to resist, even the Purple Mansion cultivators have to retreat, dodge, and swim to break the formation. The gap between the foundation building cultivators and the Purple Mansion cultivators is a bit huge, but this huge gap is not irreparable. Relying on the power of numbers and condensing into a formation, it can still make up for it. Boom boom boom. At this moment, more than 30 foundation building cultivators of the Lu family gathered together in groups of 5 and attacked a cultivator of the law enforcement hall with murderous intent. They did not fear because of their inferior strength. At this moment, there were 15 foundation building cultivators who did not listen to the call of the Great Elder and directly turned into streams of light to escape. Kill. Zhao Lei smiled and continued to attack, focusing on attacking Lu Xuanji. Other law enforcement hall cultivators also attacked the foundation building cultivators of the Lu family. Those low-level casual cultivators of the Lu family disdained to attack and did not have extra time to attack. The monks of the law enforcement hall did not attack the foundation building monks of the Lu family who were fleeing, but let them escape. Surrounding 3 sides and leaving one side missing can suppress the enemy's fighting spirit. Deliberately letting the enemy escape is also to disintegrate the enemy's fighting spirit, and when the enemy's fighting spirit is relaxed, then give a fatal blow. It's like when the cavalry chases the enemy, they rarely use sabers to kill the enemy, but drive the enemy infantry to charge towards their own formation, causing a stampede, and then chase them with their tails. Many times, the desperate beasts attack, enough to drag the enemy to death, but when the enemy loses the courage to perish together, it is not to be feared. Boom boom boom. The battle broke out quickly, and the bloody battle broke out. Lu Xuanji's mind was a little dazed. In a trance, he returned to the years 170 years ago, when the old ancestor Yan Yang led the bandits to attack the Lu family, destroyed Xiang Mountain, and killed the monks of the Lu family. The scene of the past appeared again, and the battle was even more tragic. But there was a difference. At that time, Lu Xuanji was only at the 7th level of key training. He was so weak that he had no strength to fight. He was not even qualified to stay as cannon fodder. He could only run away with Yi Fixu, like a dog that had lost its home. The only thing to be thankful for was that the Lu family's foundation building cultivators fought desperately and resisted most of the main forces of the bandits, which gave him a chance to escape. That time, he was able to escape, not because of good luck, but because those predecessors used their lives to fight for the opportunity for him. When the sky falls, there are tall people to support it. But now he is the patriarch, the 2nd level of the Purple Mansion. He has become the sky of the Lu family and the pillar of the Lu family. Anyone can escape, but he cannot kill. Lu Xuanji shouted and urged the Lihuo sword. This sword had been recast not long ago. It was engraved with dragon and phoenix runes in pure yang formations, and it was added with Milky Way black gold, which greatly improved its firmness. As the pure yang true fire was activated, the sword suddenly began to buzz, like a bee flapping its wings. Chapter 209 Golden Palm. A pure white flame rose from the sword, surrounding the surroundings. The void was distorted, and the surrounding spiritual energy was ignited, turning into a stream of burning power. Pure yang true fire can not only be used to assist in cultivation and temper the body, but also has a terrifying burning power, which can be used to break the enemy's protective key. How dare you? Zhao Lei shouted. The Lu family is really daring. When you encounter the law enforcement of my law enforcement hall, you don't want to surrender, but want to resist the law violently. You are simply courting death. After I capture you, I will not kill you immediately, but capture you alive and nail you directly to the stake with bloodthirsty nails, and bleed to death. You bastard, you actually killed my elder brother Zhao, and pretended that he was doing evil to elder brother Zhao. I will avenge him. Lu Xuanji also shouted. Swish. Zhao Lei stepped forward, and urged the long sword to chop and kill. This knife came down without any momentum, but with the meaning of perfection. Bang bang bang. In an instant, the two men clashed with each other, and the swords and knives collided with each other. It was unknown how many times they collided. Zhao Lei took a deep breath and rushed forward. The terrifying aura pressed down on him. The Taoist robe on his body rustled. A terrifying vision appeared behind his body. Countless stars flashed, and turned into a vast night sky. He seemed to be in the center of the stars, like the master of all the stars. Vision, the endless starry sky suppresses. This step was taken, and he approached Lu Xuanji in an instant, and the vision suppressed him. At this time, it was originally broad daylight, the sun was blazing in the sky, and the sun was rising. But with the advent of endless starry sky, within a moment, 300 feet turned into a dark night, and the dark night replaced the day, turning day into night. At this time, a series of stars tore through Lu Xuanji's protective key, and attacked the immortal body. Vision, the pure yang sun. Lu Xuanji was not afraid at all. The pure yang sun appeared above his head, flashing pure white light and scorching heat, bringing endless light to the world. Originally, it was in darkness, but under the illumination of the pure yang sun, the night dissipated, and turned into day. But at this moment, Zhao Lei continued to urge the endless starry sky, and the night fell again. Boom boom boom. Endless starry sky, and pure yang sun, clashed with each other. The night and the day collided and shattered each other, causing the celestial phenomena to change, and the spiritual energy surged like a tide. The knife and the sword clashed with each other, shattering each other and slashing. The knife of heavenly punishment. The knife is the way. At this moment, Xiaolei pressed forward step by step. A flash of knife light in his hand was flashing, with lightning flashing on it, making a hissing sound, as if the sky was about to bring down a calamity and endless judgment. This thunder spirit root cultivator showed a terrifying sight, like a walking human-shaped heavenly punishment. I have a knife, taste it. When the knife light came, Xuanji's eyes flashed with a trace of joy, a trace of great freedom, and a trace of great ease. The mind was stirring, and at this moment, a knife appeared in the left hand, with the power of Yuan magnetic, which was the Yuan magnetic sky knife. The Yuan magnetic sky knife attracted the power of the Yuan magnetic of heaven and earth, and chopped down. When the knife was in motion, the mystery of the knife was integrated into it, and it was more perfect. Bang bang. The two sides clashed together, and the Yuan magnetic sky knife lost its edge for the first time. After a long battle, it still failed to defeat the opponent. This battle was thrilling. The two subconsciously left here and fought in the sky. Otherwise, if they fell to the ground, the mountains would be collapsed, and the ground would turn into valleys and lakes. The law enforcement all monks who had surrounded the Lu family were all surprised. Elder Zhao was a thunder spirit monk, born good at killing and attacking. In terms of strong combat power, he could be said to be invincible, and the number of demon cultivators killed was even greater. Hearing the name of Elder Zhao had the effect of stopping children from crying. But Elder Zhao fought for a long time, but he could not take down the head of the Lu family. He was 3 small realms higher than the head of the Lu family. The sword of heavenly punishment is nothing more than this. Xuanji shouted, "You are dreaming. That heavenly punishment can be transformed into heavenly punishment and become the law enforcer of heaven and earth, but you don't know that heavenly Dao is selfless. How can you, who is so selfish, be qualified to control heavenly punishment? Or this is just a beautiful dream. When you wake up from the dream, there is nothing left. Take my sword." Xuanji slashed out another sword. This sword was still the Yuanzi heavenly sword. The number of runes remained at more than 10,000, the rune structure remained unchanged, and the amount of true energy remained unchanged. However, this sword gave people a feeling that the sword was alive. The sword that was slashed out in the past seemed rigid and soulless, but at this moment, the sword that was slashed out was alive, and turned into a living creature. It was as if it was a corpse in the past, but now it has a soul, and turned into a living person. Swish. A flash of blood passed by, and Xiaolei's body was chopped into 2 pieces. The next moment, Xiaolei's body disappeared, and a broken puppet appeared in its place. A magic weapon for death substitution. Xuanji frowned slightly, with a trace of regret in his eyes. Xiaolei was a thunder spirit, with a demonic aptitude and outstanding talent. He was a golden elixir seed, and it was reasonable for him to be given a magic weapon for death substitution to save his life. Suddenly, I thought, is the Sumeru demon lord, who was killed by him, really dead? He might also have magic weapon for death substitution, or a treasure to save his life. 100 meters away, Xiaolei's body appeared, but his face was a little pale, as if he had paid a lot of price to activate the magic weapon for death substitution. The magic weapon for death substitution is not an immortal body, and it must be activated at a certain price. Kill. At this moment, Xiaolei's eyes flashed with a trace of cruelty, and he activated the token in his hand. A golden palm appeared on the token and slapped it in the air. A golden elixir strike. Xuanji activated the golden token, and a sword energy shot out immediately. The golden palm collided with the invisible sword energy, and went to annihilation. Kill. Xiaolei activated the token again, and a golden palm appeared and slapped out. Xuanji wanted to activate the token, but it shattered. After using it 3 times, the golden token will shatter. The first time, it was to kill the old ancestor Yan Yang. The second time, it was to kill the assassin in black. The third time, there was a golden palm collision. Golden light. At this moment, the golden light under Xuanji's feet flashed, and it was about to turn into a golden light and disappear. But the golden palm that fell, but it had the power of confinement, and it naturally restrained the golden light of the earth. The body that was about to fly away was forced to stay in place, and could only watch the golden palm slap down. If golden light of the earth was cultivated to the first level of the great success stage, it would definitely be able to break the golden palm and escape. After all, he was a little bit short. At the moment, when he was about to be killed with one blow, or 3-color light flashed to protect Xuanji, and took him out of the confinement of the golden palm. But he was a bit slower after all, and was hit by the remaining force. Puff. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and the soft body leaned against his arms, intimately touching, and he could easily see her flushed face, faint fragrance, rosy lips, trembling eyelashes, and bright eyes like stars. Why? Xuanji asked. Looking at the woman in front of him, he was a little surprised and puzzled. A woman who was the least likely to appear actually appeared and blocked the fatal blow for him. This woman was the three-tailed fox, Beilinger. PS. Please subscribe, please vote for the monthly ticket, and please vote for the recommendation. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210, The Crisis of Ancestor Jin. Feeling the beautiful body, feeling the graceful feeling, and the faint fragrance, with the feeling of charming sinners, this feeling can be said to be extremely comfortable. If it were any other woman, she would definitely hug him directly. However, at this moment, hugging this demon woman, his whole body was numb, as if he was hugging a hedgehog. He had only met this demon woman twice. The first time was a life and death battle, and the second time was also a life and death battle. They were not friendly to each other, but at this moment she rescued him. Not only did she save him, but she was also injured. He also felt the lingering love, like flowing water, continuous and endless, and lingering love. It is said that love can be disguised by words and expressions, but only love cannot be disguised. Go. Beilinger hugged him, and urged the magical power of teleportation to be 10 miles away in an instant. After a few flashes, he was 100 miles away. It was just that the continuous teleportation seemed to consume too much energy. He spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. His breath was weak, and he took out a pill and swallowed it, digesting the pill, and healing his injuries. I want to go back. The Lu family still needs me. Xuanji said. Thank you. You can't go back. Beilinger said, and stopped him directly. Her face was pale, but her expression was firm. The Lu family needs me. Xuanji said. If I don't stop him, who can resist Zhaolei? How can I be a deserter? It's useless for you to go back, even if you kill Zhaolei. Beilinger said, the Lu family must be destroyed, so come back to King Qiu with me. Impossible. Xuanji said. The fate of the weak is never determined by themselves, but by the strong. Beilinger said coldly, the monks of the law enforcement hall may seem arrogant and domineering, but they are actually just dogs of those giant bosses. Whoever they tell the law enforcement hall to bite, they will bite. If the dog is disobedient, just beat it to death, and eat its meat. In normal times, with the protection of Fairy Jinzi, the monks of the law enforcement hall dare not make trouble for the Lu family. Not to mention, that the Lu family has no magic cultivators. Even if there are magic cultivators, the monks of the law enforcement hall will stay away from them, and even help the Lu family whitewash it all. But now the law enforcement hall, and why did that Zhaolei find the Lu family? Did something happen to Ancestor Jin? Xuanji asked. Yes. Beilinger said, the reason why those people are so cruel to the Lu family is because something happened to Fairy Jinzi. Fairy Jinzi is so powerful that she is listed in the demon clan and is the target of a huge reward. If she dares to step into the Xuan mountains, countless demon kings will immediately stand up to surround and kill her. Once there was a demon clan nascent soul cultivator who attacked her, but let her escape. Not only the demon cultivators, but also the demons have a wanted order for her. 2 giant and great cultivators from the Huanquan demon sect and a giant and ancestor from the Hehuan demon sect died at her hands. According to incomplete statistics, about 15 giant and demon cultivators, etc., died at her hands. Many demon cultivators want to join forces to kill her, but they are afraid that she is a top level formation master and is extremely difficult to deal with. She is also a top level sword cultivator with powerful attack power, so they seem hesitant. But not long ago, there was internal intelligence that Fairy Xuanji had broken the shackles and was about to achieve nascent soul. After hearing this, many cultivators were terrified and joined forces again to besiege her. As far as I know, about 8 giant cultivators gathered in Xiang Mountain, wanting to join forces to kill Fairy Xuanji. I also took this opportunity to cross the border between the two clans and come here to visit you. Fairy Xuanji is about to be finished. If she is finished, some of the forces under her command will also be liquidated. Your Lu family is one of the forces to be liquidated, and this is also the moment when the law enforcement hold theirs to take action against the Lu family. Many people will not add icing on the cake, but everyone will add insult to injury. Lu Xuanji said, how do you know that she will fail in her attempt to achieve nascent soul? If she achieves nascent soul, what is there to be afraid of the demons and monsters? Haha, it's not that easy to achieve the nascent soul. Even in my demon clan, the nascent soul is called the demon emperor, and no one among millions of people can become the demon emperor. The nascent soul has 3 steps to go through. The first step is the softening of the golden elixir and the pregnancy of the spirit in the elixir. The second step is to completely break the golden elixir and the nascent soul appears. The third step is the coming of the heavenly tribulation. Those cultivators will interfere with her and destroy her when she breaks the golden elixir and condenses a nascent soul. Even if she successfully condenses a nascent soul and survives the heavenly tribulation, she will fall into a weak period. By then, when the demons and monsters attack, how can she resist? Balinga said coldly, husband, come with me to Kinkyu. Fairy Jinxie is about to perish, and there is not much point in you staying here. As for the Lu family, they may have been killed by Zhao Lei, and the snow is vast and clean. You'd better go back to Kinkyu with me. When you get to Kinkyu, you will be my queen. There are many beautiful women in Kinkyu, and you can choose whatever you want. When you get to Kinkyu, you will practice hard for 200 years. Then you can go to Chu and kill the old enemy to avenge your hatred. If you go now, you will just die. Okay, if the Jin Patriarch dies, I don't mind going to Kinkyu with you. As for now, I don't believe that the Jin Patriarch will die. In my eyes, the Jin Patriarch is invincible. Invincible? There is no such thing as invincible. It's just that I haven't met an opponent who killed me. Balinga smiled and said, if you don't believe me, then let's go to Xiang Mountain 100 miles away to witness the demise of a giant and legend. As she said that, she took his hand and teleported away again. It only took a moment to reach the vicinity of Xiang Mountain. Although it was 100 miles away, it was actually 300 miles away. At this moment, a great battle took place in Xiang Mountain. The scorching flames descended to the bottom of Xiang Mountain. The sword energy of destruction was impacting. The ice descended, a metal mountain peak crashed down, a blood river of destruction crashed in, a huge chessboard crashed down, and there was an amazing collision there. The masters were fighting and killing each other. Husband, it's right here. You can observe the battle there. Balinga smiled and took out a mirror. The word Haotian was engraved on the mirror. It was a replica of the Haotian mirror. The grade was only the first grade, and the function was limited, but it could detect everything that happened 300 miles away. The light on the mirror flickered. At the beginning, it was just blurry, but gradually the picture became clear. I saw 7 peaks moving, like 7 sharp swords coming out of their bodies, flashing with fierce evil spirits. On the central peak, there was a huge picture, suspended in the void. In the picture, there were immortals dancing, phoenixes flying, dragons soaring, clouds in the fairy palace rising and falling, and immortal grass and flowers growing, as if the fairyland had descended, with endless beauty in it. But at this moment, there were 7 demonic spirits rising, galloping, and hitting the picture. Ice, blood river, stars, bones, huanquin, flames, etc. A series of terrifying killing moves bombarded out and tore into the picture. Among them, there was a demonic spirit that was the strongest, with 5 colored light flashing, turning into a planet, and hitting the picture, knocking the picture to the ground. The demon cultivators were attacking Xiang Mountain. Chapter 211 King Lion. That picture is called Kyankuntu, and it is a 5th grade spiritual treasure. At the beginning, Fairy Jinxie used this magic weapon to fight against a nascent soul cultivator, and was not at a disadvantage. The nascent soul cultivator had no choice but to retreat. If Fairy Jinxie was in charge of Kyankantu, and with the help of the great formation of Xiang Mountain, she would be able to defeat the invading enemy. It's a pity that Fairy Jinxie is attacking the nascent soul at this moment, and it's only Long Xuan who is in charge of Kyankantu. Long Xuan is only in the early stage of Golden Core, and with more than a dozen Purple Mansion cultivators, it is a bit difficult to resist the attack of the 8 demon cultivators. As for that demon cultivator, his name is 5-element demon lord. He has 5 spiritual roots and the worst aptitude, but his comprehension and opportunity are top notch. He practices the 5 major magic arts, namely Huanquan magic art, White Bone magic art, Wanhua magic art, Thousand Poison magic art, and Black Flame magic art, and uses this as the foundation to condense the Golden Core. He is a half-step nascent soul cultivator, the most terrifying. When Bailinga introduced the 5-element demon lord, a trace of fear flashed in her eyes. 5 spiritual roots, very poor aptitude, very difficult to achieve enlightenment, even practicing magic is a life or death struggle. But with such poor aptitude, he has practiced to the half-step nascent soul stage, which shows how top-notch his comprehension and opportunity are. Such a character is also the most difficult to deal with. The 5-element demon lord played a leading role in the attack on Xiang Mountain this time. At this moment, the battle was extremely fierce. Ancestor Jin is the supreme elder of Danliang sect. Will Danliang sect not rescue us? Lu Xuanji asked. The 3 major sects of Chu state are fighting internally, but they rely on each other. Not only Danliang sect, but also Xianling sect and Kaotian sect also have giant and cultivators coming to rescue them, but they were intercepted on the way. Rescue is inevitable, but how strong the opportunity is depends on their friendship. Bailinga said with a smile, telling some of the inside stories. Lu Xuanji was worried. At this moment, accompanied by a roar, a mountain peak was knocked down, and the formation nodes inside were broken. The originally powerful Kyankantu lost the support of the formation, and its power dropped sharply. Kill, kill. At this moment, the 8 demon cultivators followed the opening, and killed their way in. Wherever the demonic energy went, the elixir was contaminated, and the destruction spread to all directions. It's over. A trace of despair flashed in Lu Xuanji's eyes. Ancestor Jin was really going to lose this time. At this moment, a woman in green appeared, with lotus flowers growing under her feet, and her palms clenched into fists, and she blasted towards the 5-element demon lord. The 5-element demon lord smiled grimly, and urged the 5-element divine ball to hit him. At this moment, a blue lotus appeared above his head, like a dream, as if interpreting a dream world. The blue lotus turned slightly, as if it was operating the destiny, and causing the birth and death of the universe. The 5-element demon lord suddenly looked stunned, as if he was in an illusion. A white and tender palm grabbed into the dantian, and a 5-color golden pill appeared on the palm of the green-clothed woman. The golden pill was beating, and full of vitality. At this time, the 5-element demon lord woke up, and felt a severe pain, but what was coming was a big tripod. Boom boom boom. The big tripod fell from the sky, sealing the 5-element demon lord inside. At this moment, the green-clothed woman attacked a demon cultivator again, slashing with a sword. The body protection magic weapon was broken, the talisman was broken, the ganki was broken, and then the demon cultivator's head fell. Another demon cultivator was destroyed. Right and wrong, success and failure are all in vain. Originally, when the formation was broken, and Xiang Mountain was about to be destroyed, a shocking reversal occurred. The 5-element demon lord was sealed, a demon cultivator fell, and the remaining demon cultivators were left with only fear, fleeing one after another, like dogs that had lost their homes. The green-clothed woman waved her hand, and a purple mansion cultivator was dispatched one after another to chase the demon cultivator. Some of those who ran slowly were killed one after another, which was extremely miserable. How could this happen? Bailinga was stunned. She thought she was in the 3rd layer, but Fairy Jinxie was in the atmosphere. Those demon cultivators failed to besiege, but were instead plotted against by the Jin Patriarch, and were defeated. It was extremely miserable. At this moment, the green-clothed woman seemed to sense something, and the replica of the Haotian mirror shattered. Not good. Bailinga flashed, grabbed Lu Xuanji and teleported away. After a few ups and downs, they were already 100 miles away, but before they could rest, they were imprisoned by a terrifying force. Interesting, little fox of Kinkyu. The green-clothed woman laughed. Little fox, do you think I should kill you? Husband, I still failed. It's a pity that we can't be husband and wife anymore. Bailing aside, if you want to kill me, then kill me. I don't want to say anything else. Begging for mercy is impossible, and as for becoming your spiritual pet, it is absolutely impossible. Then I will kill you. The green-clothed woman said. Wait a minute, senior, you can't kill her. Xuanji spoke and blocked the front directly. Little guy, you won't be fascinated by this little fox, will you? Don't be fooled by her beautiful appearance, but she is vicious inside. When you follow her to Kinkyu, be careful to be sucked dry. The green-clothed woman sneered. There is no shortage of beauties in our human race, so why collude with the demon race? If you want a beauty, I can give you Liu Rumeng. There was a hint of domineering in her words. Who is the senior? Xuanji asked. I'm Kinglian. The green-clothed woman said. Jinzi wants to attack the nascent soul, so I came to protect him. This time, I caught a few big fish. Senior is Kinglian, but I feel a familiar breath. What is the relationship between the senior and the Jin patriarch? Xuanji asked. We are fellow Taoists. The green-clothed woman smiled. Really? Xuanji smiled and took a step forward. The green-clothed woman subconsciously took a step back. Senior, why do you have to deceive me? My cultivation is low, but my spiritual perception is sharp. Some things can't be hidden from me. Xuanji took a step forward. The green-clothed woman took another step back. At this moment, she thought that she was the Golden Core Patriarch, so why should she be afraid of a mere purple mansion cultivator? You are courting death. The green-clothed woman said angrily, and waved her hand to hit Xuanji. But when she was about to hit him, she was reluctant, and lost most of her strength. Get out. The green-clothed woman slapped him with her palm, and Bailinga was immediately knocked out on the spot, spitting blood from her mouth, and her breath became weak. But Xuanji was relieved. Although Bailinga seemed to be seriously injured, she was actually not seriously injured. If the Golden Core Patriarch really used heavy hands, she would have been beaten to ashes instead of being seriously injured. The green-clothed woman stepped forward and said, remember, don't think about him, or I will kill you next time. As she said that, she grabbed Xuanji and disappeared. Damn it. Wiping the blood, Bailinga stood up, with a flash of murderous intent in her eyes. After the murderous intent, there was a faint tenderness. Husband, you still have me in your heart. If he hadn't pleaded for mercy, I would not have been seriously injured by one blow, but killed on the spot. Isn't it just that he is older than me and has a higher cultivation level than me? What's so great about that? After I have practiced for 300 years, I will make Jinzi die. Bailinga said fiercely, took out a pill and swallowed it, digesting the pill and recovering from her injuries. With a gloomy look on her face, she disappeared into the distance. Chapter 212, The Two-Yin Illusionary Body. Swish. After a few ups and downs, they returned to Xiang Mountain. After the war, Xiang Mountain was severely damaged and in ruins, and there were even more monks who died in the battle. Senior, this time my Xiang Mountain suffered a huge loss. Long Xuan appeared and wanted to introduce the losses. But the green-clothed woman smiled and said, you can take care of these, don't bother me. Long Xuan nodded and had to leave. Walking and walking, they came to a living room and activated the magic to isolate everything. The green-clothed woman asked, my name is Kinglian. Greetings to the Kinglian Patriarch. Xuanji bowed and said, but why do I feel familiar with you, senior, but also extremely strange? You, a young man, are very sensitive. Kinglian smiled and said, I'm a clone of Jinzi. Ah. Xuanji was surprised. 9 transformations of fish and dragon is a top-level incarnation technique which can use the true essence to transform into a clone to assist in battle. Such a clone has a limited duration and will dissipate if it is too far away from the original body. In addition to the incarnation, there is also the clone. The clone is a clone created by using some secret techniques outside the original body. The clone has its own personality and thoughts, shares the memory of the original body, and can practice alone. If the original body dies, the clone will become a separate individual and become the new original body. King Lian smiled and said, back then, the original body got a secret technique called Liangai Huan Mi Shen. With the original body as the foundation, a clone was created. I'm the clone that was created. To a certain extent, I'm Xuanji, and Xuanji is me. But I feel that you are not her, and she is not you. Xuanji said. That's because I dominate absolute reason, and she dominates emotion. I do things and pursue maximum benefits, but she thinks too much when doing things and is nagging. King Lian sneered, but now, the original body is about to die. The figure flashed and took Xuanji to a cave. When the cave was opened, a woman was frozen in black ice inside. It was the old Ancestor Jin. Ancestor Jin was in a very bad condition. His face was pale, and there was a trace of blood on his chest. His whole body was weak, and he seemed to be dying at any time. Ancestor Jin, what happened? Xuanji asked, his heart aching slightly. Under your guidance, she began to strive for the 9th transformation of the golden elixir. In the end, she was half successful and half failed. The half success means that she broke the fate, turned the impossible into the possible, reversed her own destiny, and condensed the 9th transformation golden elixir. The half failure means that she was insufficient in energy and spirit, which led to serious injuries and almost death. King Lian smiled and said, if she died, I would be the deity. Ancestor King Lian, why are you angry? Xuanji said directly, you invited me here. I think there must be a way to save me. I can't say there is, I can only say it's luck. King Lian smiled and said, according to the calculation of the Plum Blossom divination, there is a glimmer of hope in a secret realm somewhere. As for what it is, it depends on luck. If you are lucky, you may get some opportunities in the secret realm and find the next glimmer of hope for me. That is to say, you are not sure either, just like rolling dice and betting on luck. Xuanji said angrily, you are not going to murder me, and then your clone will kill me and become the real one. After all, the clone is naturally suppressed by the real one. You are talking nonsense. I will not harm anyone but myself. If I had not used Xuanbing to freeze my body at the critical moment, I would not be able to hold on and would have been finished. King Lian said angrily, the two yin and yang illusion bodies are usually separated, and when they can break through the bottleneck, they can be combined into one, and the probability of breaking through the bottleneck can be increased by 2 levels. Once the real body dies or the clone dies, it will have a huge impact on the future path. If the real body perishes, I'm just King Lian's clone, limited by my qualifications. The peak of the nascent soul is the limit, and the future is cut off. The price is too high, I can't afford it. Xuanji frowned slightly, still doubting. This is the original manuscript of Two Yin and Yang Illusion Bodies. King Lian flicked his fingers and handed over a jade slip. Xuanji took the jade slip, flipped through the information, and frowned slightly. Liang Yihu and Mishen can cut off half of the soul, entrusted to a certain spiritual object, and turn it into a clone. At ordinary times, the clone and the original body practice separately. The clone has the power of the 8th level of the original body. If the original body perishes, the clone can continue to survive. It is equivalent to one person having 2 lives, which can add a little insurance for oneself. If it is the moment of breaking through the bottleneck, the clone and the original body will merge into one, and the combat effectiveness will be greatly improved, which can increase the probability of 2-level breakthrough. As for the disadvantages, practicing this secret technique will reduce half of the lifespan. Ancestor Jin is a giant and cultivator with a lifespan of 1000 years, but now his lifespan is only 500 years. This disadvantage is so great, you still practice it. It's crazy. Not only that, the clone will be restricted by the level of the spiritual object. When the King Lian clone was cut out, a 5th grade King Lian was used, which also led to the upper limit of King Lian's potential, which was only the peak of Yuan Ying. If the original body perishes, how can the clone take revenge? The Jin family was destroyed, and the hatred was so great that even the water of the 9 heavens Milky Way could not wash it away. What is this price? King Lian gritted her teeth and said, with a hint of madness flashing in her expression. Xuanji was silent. This deity, half dead and half dead, will you save him? King Lian asked. Save. Xuanji said. Okay, as long as this deity survives and enters the 9 transformations golden pill, everything will be fine. King Lian smiled and said, do you like Liu Rumeng or Longsduan? Which woman do you like? I can decide to reward you. Are you her after all? Lu Xuanji sighed. She wouldn't say such a thing. King Lian said, what else can't you let go of? If you want to pay the reward in advance, I can let them accompany you. Lu Xuanji said, Zhao Lei destroyed my Lu family. This hatred is too deep to forget. Ancestor King Lian should kill him and avenge me. Thinking about it now, the Lu family has probably been killed by the law enforcement hall. Sure. King Lian nodded and said, however, there is no need for revenge, because the Lu family is not destroyed. How is it possible? Apart from me, who in the Lu family can resist the monks of the law enforcement hall? Yes, Xuanji can. King Lian smiled and said, you don't think that you are the only genius and the rest of the monks are losers. Only you can fight, and everyone else is trash. After Xuanji switched to practicing the Ice Soul Sutra, she was injured by Zhao Lei by the Ice Soul Divine Thunder, which was not inferior to any other golden elixir seeds. Zhao Lei was almost beaten to death. As for the other law enforcement disciples, she killed most of them. Xuanji has condensed to anomalies, has ice spirit roots, and top level ice magical powers. She is a first class prodigy. You don't think she is just a vase? Chapter 213, Chess Pieces and Abandoned Pieces. King Lian smiled, flicked her finger, and a water curtain suddenly appeared. In the water curtain, at the moment, when Lu Xuanji was rescued by Beilinger, a figure of ice and snow appeared, urging the Ice Soul Divine Thunder to bombard Zhao Lei's body. Zhao Lei's true essence was greatly depleted in the battle with Lu Xuanji, and he could not withstand such a fatal blow. Although he had a shield to resist and dissipate most of the force, he was still injured and fled. As for the disciples of the law enforcement hall, they were killed one by Xuanji and the Great Elder. Then, Xuanji and the Great Elder disappeared with the Lu family monks and hid. The whole process was clean and neat, without any drag. Lu Xuanji was silent. Perhaps, this is the real Xuanji. Xuanji often said that she had poor qualifications, average comprehension, and low potential. But in fact, Xuanji is a second level spiritual root cultivator, and her qualifications are superior to many cultivators. Her so-called poor qualifications are only for those with heavenly spiritual roots, special spiritual roots, and top level second level spiritual roots. It's like someone who often says that I make little money, only 300 million a year. Later, after she forged the upper grade purple mansion and transformed from the water and fire spiritual roots to the ice spiritual roots, her qualifications and potential were greatly improved, and her combat effectiveness was also improved accordingly. But Lu Xuanji subconsciously treated her as a vase. That means my Lu family, are safe. Lu Xuanji said. Yes, it's safe. King Lian said. Thank you. Lu Xuanji said. I want you to thank me even more. King Lian smiled and said, let's go. I'll take you to kill people. A gentleman's revenge is never too late, but villains and women take revenge from morning to night. Now let's go to Danliang sect and take revenge. But here, without you in charge, there will be no danger. Lu Xuanji said worriedly. What danger can there be? As long as I'm alive, Xiang Mountain is safe. King Lian smiled and said, remember, you must trust your subordinates and your wife. Without you, they are still alive and well. Men should be confident that they can live for 300 years and change their fate against the will of heaven to condense the golden elixir. But it is wrong to be so confident that you don't trust anyone. Some people are very powerful and can already stand alone. It's just that their light is blocked by some people and they seem mediocre. Let's go. As he said that, the golden escape light flashed under his feet. It was the golden light of the earth, but no matter in terms of speed or skill control, it was first class. It took less than a quarter of an hour to descend on the Danliang sect. At this time, the Danliang sect was in a panic. The formation was opening, one formation after another, continuously, like a huge turtle shell, slowly opening. Who is your excellency? At this moment, a giant ancestor asked. I'm King Lian, invited by Jinxie to protect the way. Unfortunately, those little demons were beaten to death with just a few punches and 5 kicks. King Lian spoke, thundering, "There is also a demon cultivator who directly possessed the body of the genius Aolei. This demon cultivator even led the law enforcement hall monks to destroy the Lu family. Poor Aolei. Aolei and Lu Xuanji are good friends, brothers in life and death, but he was possessed by a demon cultivator and helped the tyrant. Now, please ask the Danliang sect to hand over that demon cub directly so that Lu Xuanji can avenge Aolei. Danliang sect, hand over that demon cultivator." Boom boom boom. Not only that, there was also a trace of destructive aura emanating and suppressing. Aolei was possessed by a demon cultivator. How could I not know? If he hadn't been possessed by a demon cultivator, how could he have gone to destroy the entire Lu family? Poor Aolei, he was possessed by a demon cultivator like this. The discussion continued, but it didn't take long for the discussion to come to an end. Soon, a purple mansion cultivator was thrown out, and it was Aolei. At this moment, Aolei's body was sealed, his mouth was sealed, like a pig or sheep waiting to be slaughtered. "Lu Xuanji, you can go and avenge your friend," King Lian said with a smile. "Thank you." Lu Xuanji stepped forward, walked in front of Aolei, and said, "Demon cub killed my friend. Today I will avenge him." He drew out the Lihuo sword, slashed it out with one sword, and the head fell off immediately. Aolei died. King Lian asked, "Are you in a better mood?" "I'm in a better mood," Lu Xuanji said. "It feels so good to call a deer a horse in front of the real person. Directly call someone a fake person. Under the name of revenge for Aolei, Aolei was directly destroyed. It feels so good. Whether it is a demon cultivator taking over the body, can't those Chindan ancestors see it? They can see it, but they still choose to accept the statement of King Lian Patriarch. In the world, what happened in the past is not important. What is important is what needs to happen in the world. Let's go, King Lian said. Lu Xuanji nodded. Just like that, the two disappeared, leaving only Aolei's body lying there. After a long time, a cultivator came out, cleaned up his body, and threw it into the mass grave. What about the purple mansion cultivators and the golden elixir seeds? They were still the vanguards of testing the golden ancestor. Since the test failed, the chess pieces became abandoned pieces, just in time to save the chariot. Back at Xiang Mountain, Lu Xuanji suddenly asked, "Am I not also a chess piece like Aolei? If I'm useless, I will also be treated as an abandoned piece and thrown away." "Yes," King Lian said coldly. She could have said no, but the moment she opened her mouth, she gave Lu Xuanji the cruelest answer. "Do you feel aggrieved, unfair, and uncomfortable?" King Lian asked again. "Yes," Lu Xuanji asked. "I value you, because you are useful. You have the hope of entering the nascent soul stage and becoming a god in the future, and you are qualified to become my fellow Taoist." King Lian said, "You are useful, you are a chess piece, at least you have a chance to rise, at least someone is willing to be your backer and protect you. Because you are useful, the Lu family has been able to live a stable life in recent years, to prosper and develop, and even surpass the peak of the past. Do you understand?" "I understand." Lu Xuanji smiled. Just like when Jing Ken assassinated the King of Qin, Prince Dan treated Jing Ken with courtesy and gave him money and beauties. Why did he treat Jing Ken, a low-level scholar, so much? He wanted to use Jing Ken and wanted Jing Ken to repay his kindness with his life. One day when watching singing and dancing, Jing Ken praised the beautiful hands of a woman playing the zither. When Prince Dan found out, he actually had the woman's hands cut off and put them on a plate and gave them to Jing Ken. If Prince Dan really valued Jing Ken, he could have just given the zither girl to Jing Ken. Why did he cut off the dancer's hand and send her to him in such a bloody way? Wasn't this Prince Dan's warning to Jing Ken? In essence, Jing Ken and the zither girl are the same. When they are useful, they will play the zither. When they are not useful, their hands will be chopped off. Chapter 214 Sword Island Fragments. Seeing through the essence of the world is nothing. But after seeing through the essence of the world, it is human nature to turn from a dragon's lair into an evil dragon. After seeing through the essence of the world, some people still love the world, which is the truth of life. The fact that Jin Liuzu valued him is similar to the fact that Prince Tan valued Jin Ke and Liu Bei valued Zhu Jiang. Otherwise, Jin Ke was just a commoner at the bottom of society. Why did Prince Tan treat him with courtesy? Otherwise, Zhu Jiang was just a village man. Why did Liu Bei visit him 3 times? Otherwise, he was just a foundation building cultivator. Why did Jin Liuzu treat him with courtesy? If the monarch treats his subjects as his own hands and feet, then the subjects will treat the monarch as their own heart and soul. If the monarch treats his subjects as dogs and horses, then the subjects will treat the monarch as their fellow countrymen. If the monarch treats his subjects as dirt, then the subjects will treat the monarch as their enemy. In order to repay the kindness of Prince Tan, Jin Ke chose to repay with his life. In order to repay Liu Bei's 3 visits, Zhu Jiang worked hard until his death. As for what he should do, there is already a conclusion. Ancestor Jin is in trouble, so naturally I have to repay him. Lu Xuanji asked, what should I do? I'm practicing the Liang Yi sword art of the ancient sword sect. The complete Liang Yi sword art has a total of 9 volumes, representing the ultimate of the human world, reaching the realm of immortals. But a long time ago, the ancient sword sect was invaded by a powerful enemy, and the sword island collapsed and turned into countless fragments. At that time in Zhongzhou, a sword island fragment appeared, attracting countless strong men to fight for it, and even a virtual refining strongman took action. In the end, the sword island fragment was shattered and entered the land of nothingness. At that time, an ancestor of the Jin family obtained 2 volumes of exercises from the Sword Island fragment. One volume was called Liang Yi Sword Art, and the other was called 4-Symbol Sword Art. Both volumes of exercises can be practiced to the peak of the spirit transformation, but they have special requirements for spiritual roots. Practicing Liang Yi Sword Art requires 2 spiritual roots of gold and earth, and practicing 4-Symbol Sword Art requires 4 spiritual roots of gold, wood, water and fire. Just 200 years ago, I discovered a certain Sword Island fragment. Over the years, I have sent cultivators to this fragment space, but all of them died there. Among them, there are 32 foundation building cultivators, 4 purple mansion cultivators, and 1 golden elixir cultivator. Over the years, I have calculated that I would enter this Sword Island fragment after entering the nascent soul stage, but now something unexpected has happened, and only you can enter. Lu Xuanji asked, where is that Sword Island fragment? Are there any restrictions on cultivation? 200 years ago, it could accommodate golden elixir cultivators, but now only purple mansion cultivators are allowed to enter. If a golden elixir cultivator enters by force, he may be torn apart by the space turbulence. After all, in the face of space turbulence and the tearing of the void, the golden elixir cultivator is just a bigger ant. King Lian said, okay, let's go now. Lu Xuanji nodded and said, if I'm unfortunate and I am there, please take good care of the Lu family and protect the Lu family for 100 years. If you die in there, I will accept Li Wanyi as my apprentice, said the ancestor King Lian. Let's go to that secret realm now. Lu Xuanji said, please lead the way, ancestor. No need to lead the way, the entrance to the secret realm is in this Xiang mountain, said the King Lian ancestor. He stood up and walked around Xiang mountain, and Lu Xuanji followed closely behind him. As they walked, they arrived at the back of the mountain. Here is a medicine garden where spiritual medicines are planted, and a formation is set up to prohibit outsiders from entering. It is said that some rare spiritual medicines are planted here. At this moment, under the leadership of the King Lian ancestor, the formation was opened and entered. But there was a vortex in the void, which was constantly running, but it was fixed by a formation, and it was difficult to move at all. Back then, when I arrived in Chu state, I sensed the breath of the Sword Island fragment here, so I settled in Xiang mountain. Otherwise, how could a mere Xiang mountain be qualified for me to settle down? King Lian smiled. More than 200 years ago, that was when my Lu family was just wiped out by the Yan'ang ancestor. Lu Xuanji frowned. Yes, it was that period. King Lian sighed and said, in the end of cultivating immortals, it is not the aptitude that matters, but luck that matters more. Those cultivators with great luck often have all kinds of treasures, opportunities, etc. gathered around them. Sword Island fragments. Why did they appear in Xiang Mountain? It may be attracted by your luck. Sword Island fragments. Attracted by my luck. Are you kidding? Xuanji laughed. He didn't think he had such a big face and such a strong luck. King Lian smiled and said, I don't know if it is or not. You will know when you go in. If you are lucky, you will get the fortune. If you are unlucky, you will die in it. Daoist friend, please. Okay. Xuanji said, and was about to enter the vortex. Then he disappeared. Be careful. King Lian said, with a trace of worry in his eyes. With the flashing of the streamer, there was still a sense of weightlessness, and Xuanji found his eyes. I saw mountains and hills all around, with tall trees and spiritual herbs growing, lush and green. There was a lake in the distance, and it seemed that there was a 10-foot long bird flying in the air. This is the heavenly spirit grass, at least 1000 years old. This is the nirvana flower, 3000 years old. This is the pure yang grass, 2000 years old. This is the hydrangea, 1500 years old. I looked around casually and saw the weeds and grass growing on the ground. The worst one was 1000 years old. Here you can find some spiritual medicines for foundation building and Purple Palace. These spiritual medicines that were thought hard outside were like weeds and grasses growing randomly on the ground and were extremely worthless. Thinking about the time and hard work he spent to refine the pure yang pill and ripen the spiritual medicine, and looking at the weeds on the ground, he felt bitter. He took a deep breath and did not pick up the weeds on the ground. Instead, he opened Baidu Maps, and the field of view on the map was expanding to a panoramic display. Irregular space fragments appeared in the void, with soil, mountains, spiritual medicine, spiritual grass, running monsters, and other things on it, covering an area of about 100,000 square kilometers. How big is 100,000 ordinary kilometers? It is equivalent to the area of Zhejiang. All this is just a fragment formed after the ancient Sword Island was broken. Sensing everything here, there is a strong spiritual energy here. In terms of spiritual energy attributes, there is a wild breath, which is suitable for the growth of monsters. In such an environment, monsters absorb the spiritual energy here, practice quickly, and upgrade quickly, which is almost twice the result with half the effort. This is almost a paradise for monsters. Chirp. At this moment, there are monster birds in the sky, shaking their wings, and the fierce cry comes. There are about a dozen black-feathered giant eagles, passing through the void in the distance, bringing waves of pressure, each of which is in the Purple Mansion realm, and they immediately pounced on Xuanji when they saw him. Chapter 215 Lingshan Garden, Dueling Powder. Accompanied by bursts of bird calls, black eagles swooped down one after another. Xuanji urged the Lihuo sword, and the battle broke out. Boom boom boom. The two sides fought each other. Sizzle. With a crisp sound, a black eagle was killed on the spot, its body shattered, and blood splashed into the sky. This is too weak. Xuanji frowned slightly, feeling something was wrong. Another sword light flashed, and a Purple Mansion monster was killed. Sword lights followed one after another, tearing everything apart, and black eagles died one after another. In less than a moment, 15 Purple Mansion monsters were killed one after another. Killing 15 black eagles, Xuanji felt fake. In the Battle of Beihu Mountain, the Purple Mansion monsters of Beihu Mountain were all good at fighting, and had amazing lethality. Most of the human Purple Mansion cultivators were killed in it. When more than a dozen Purple Mansion black eagles attacked, Xuanji had already prepared to retreat. As a result, during the battle, the combat effectiveness of these monsters was so low that it was almost beyond the world's expectations. It was terribly low. With a wave of his hand, he put the corpses of these monsters into the bush landing and kept them safe and continued to move forward. As he walked, he encountered a white tiger monster. But after less than 3 moves, the white tiger monster was killed. He continued to move forward and encountered many monsters, but their combat effectiveness was terribly low, almost falling to the point of falling into the sewer, and was easily killed. These Purple Mansion monsters, without refining the horizontal bones, could not speak, they could not transform, and had no powerful attack and killing skills. Even their control over the vitality of heaven and earth was weak and scattered. Not only that, they were even more confused in terms of intelligence. Like wild beasts, fighting and biting by instinct. In the battle, Xuanji killed the purple mansion monsters again and again. These purple mansion monsters only have the purple mansion realm, but they have no IQ, no strong spiritual wisdom, can't speak, and no powerful magical weapons. Their real combat power is only at the level of the external foundation building monsters. The combat power of these monsters is so low that they are almost used for meat. Chirp. With a sound, a black eagle king appeared, with its wings spread out like a blade. Xuanji urged the golden light of escape to move up and down, dodging and attacking. The black eagle king attacked several times in a row, but it was all killed. The next moment, Xuanji appeared above the head of the black eagle king, and runes condensed in his palm. 30,000 Yuan magnetic runes gathered together and turned into Yuan magnetic sky knife to chop down in the air. Boom. The huge eagle head fell down, and the black eagle king struggled and fell to the ground. Xuanji stretched out his hand and grabbed it, and suddenly a round golden elixir fell into his hand. I actually killed a golden elixir monster. Xuanji frowned. This giant and monster beast cannot speak, has no innate magical powers, cannot control the vitality of heaven and earth, and has a muddled mind. It fights with the instinct of a wild beast. In the fierce battle, a counterattack was staged, and a giant and monster beast was killed by him, a second level purple mansion cultivator. Funny and ridiculous. At this moment, Xuanji felt a terrifying aura coming, and urged the breath holding technique to restrain his own aura and blend into the surrounding scenery. Chirp. At this moment, a 10-foot long dragon flew through the void, and the terrifying aura pressured all around. The monsters around trembled, lying dormant on the ground, not daring to move. The dragon glanced at him, as if it had seen through his breath-holding technique, but ignored him, or rather, disdained to pay attention to him, and flew away directly. This is a Yuan demon beast, but it can't transform, can't speak, and even its IQ is muddled. Xuanji frowned as he sensed the dragon disappearing in the distance. In the Xuan Mountains, some foundation building demon beasts can transform, but here the Yuan demon beasts can't. This Yuan is a little weak, but it's not something I can deal with. Xuanji restrained his breath and opened the Beidou map. At this moment, he changed the color of the small dots on the map. On the map, the lowest cultivation was the foundation building demon beast. The purple mansion demon beasts were densely packed, and there were some golden elixir demon beasts running rampant, and occasionally there were 20 Yuan demon beasts running rampant. The number of demon beasts was quite large. At this moment, some traces of humans appeared on the map. Some human cultivators appeared on the Sword Island fragment, excitedly hunting the demon beasts, and the demon beasts died. On the Beidou map, there are traces of human cultivators. Some are building key, some are building foundation, some are purple palace, and some are golden elixir. Obviously, they also entered this Sword Island fragment through the corresponding channels. After experiencing the initial panic, they began to hunt monsters. After all, there are too few such weak monsters that are easy to hunt. A large number of monsters were hunted, but they also alarmed the golden elixir monsters and the Yuan monsters, which led to the monsters' counterattack. In this area of 100,000 miles, a fierce battle took place, with monsters dying and human cultivators dying. After the monsters died, the corpses of the monsters were taken away by human cultivators. After the humans died, their corpses were directly eaten by monsters. The battle scene was extremely bloody and cruel. The seemingly useless Beidou map played a huge role at this moment, allowing Xuanji to be familiar with the terrain and the distribution of monsters here, avoiding the golden elixir monsters and the Yuan monsters, and moving towards a certain location, without any danger along the way. After walking about 5,000 miles, I arrived at a certain location, and saw a stone tablet erected in front of me. There were 3 words written on the stone tablet. Spiritual Food Garden. Looking at the 3 words, my divine sense explored the stone tablet. Information came from the stone tablet, introducing the situation here. The Spiritual Food Garden is the place where the Ancient Sword sect raises monsters and regularly provides meat services for the monks. The Purple Mansion monsters, Golden Elixir monsters, Yuan monsters, and even the transformed monsters that grow here are regularly captured by the monks of the Ancient Sword sect taken away to the kitchen, and their hair and blood are removed to make various delicacies. The water source here contains absolute spirit powder. Many monsters will take absolute spirit powder when drinking water, causing the IQ of the monsters here to be muddled, unable to give birth to spiritual wisdom, unable to transform, unable to speak, let alone practice magical skills. Swish. In a few flashes, I arrived at a small river. I took out a bowl of water and carefully examined it. There were traces of medicinal powder in it. Long-term use can prevent the birth of intelligence in monsters. Even if the ancient sword sect is destroyed, and the sword island is broken into countless fragments, the absolute spirit powder here still exists. Monsters with intelligence can practice skills, awaken their innate magical powers, temper their blood, refine elixirs, and make talismans. They can establish monster civilization and kingdoms, and they will not lose to humans in the confrontation, and even force humans to stay in one side. But monsters without intelligence cannot speak, cannot transform, are scattered and disorderly, like wild beasts, not only have low combat effectiveness, but are also easy to be defeated one by one. Chapter 216. Boundary Gate. He checked the water sources and other areas again. The water contained gelling powder. After taking gelling powder, the monsters would not transform, nor would they have spiritual intelligence, so there would be no psychological burden to eat monsters. At this time, he opened Baidu map and saw the battle between monsters and humans. After some monsters killed human monks and devoured human corpses, the chaos in the eyes of some monsters became less, and their eyes became clearer, as if their IQ had improved, and they were about to open their spiritual intelligence. It's bad. Xuanji's heart skipped a beat, and he was getting more and more uneasy. Originally, there was gelling powder in the water source, and the monsters could not open their spiritual intelligence, even when they reached the realm of transformation. If they devoured human monks, they could open their spiritual intelligence even with the suppression of gelling powder. Those monsters that awakened their spiritual intelligence began to capture and devour human monks. The battle scene became bloody again. The monster beasts that awakened their spiritual intelligence not only became smarter, but also comprehended various magical skills. Their combat skills also became smooth and natural. Their combat power was doubling, and their efficiency in hunting human monks was improving. 1, 2, 3, 4 hunters and prey. Their status was reversed. Before the birth of spiritual intelligence, human monks could kill monster beasts easily, but after the birth of spiritual intelligence, it became difficult for humans to kill monster beasts, and they were often killed in return. The hunting operation continued. On the 100 maps, some Yuanying monster beasts awakened their spiritual intelligence, and began to command the monster beasts around them, and began to hunt human monks in a large scale and organized manner. One by one, human monks began to be hunted. Foundation building monks, purple mansion monks, and even golden elixir monks were found one after another, and then killed and devoured. The scene was so horrifying and bloody that it was almost horrifying. With the help of Baidu map, Xuanji avoided the monsters hunting, dancing on the edge of a knife, and carefully moved in various search areas. Fortunately, those Yuanying monsters did not awaken the secret art of exploration, or they had just awakened their intelligence and their IQ was not very high, or Xuanji was lucky. He avoided the monsters hunting again and again. In the blink of an eye, 3 months passed. There was a cave buried 10 feet underground. In the cave, Xuanji opened his eyes and turned on his mobile phone. On the mobile phone, Baidu map appeared, as well as related information statistics. There were about 100,000 human cultivators who came in, but now there are less than 100 survivors. The rest have all become food for monsters and tools for the monsters to awaken their intelligence. If it was the heyday of the ancient sword sect, the Yuanying monsters and the Shenhua monsters were all broilers on the table, but now human cultivators who mistakenly entered them would end up being eaten. Suddenly, Xuanji saw that all the monsters seemed to be summoned and gathered to a certain place. In less than half a day, on this Sword Island fragment, there were 32 Yuanying monsters, 100 giant monsters, 10,000 purple mansion monsters, and 1 million foundation building monsters. They all gathered together and used beast blood as material to carve array patterns and determine the array center. About a day later, an ancient monster array took shape, vaguely communicating with another world. Bang, bang. One by one, the monster clan's spiritual treasures were placed in the array, communicating with the array. Suddenly, the void was distorted, and a colorful light gate appeared in the void, looming, as if it would dissipate at any time. One by one, the corpses of monsters were placed in the array, absorbed by the array, and turned into pieces. At the same time, the genius light gate above the array became brighter and brighter, as if it was about to become real. But it was still not enough. The 32 Yuanying monsters looked at each other and began to hunt the foundation building monsters. The purple mansion monsters were thrown into the array and turned into the source of power for the array. The corpses of the monsters were thrown into the formation one by one, thousands and thousands of them, densely packed. At this moment, the colorful light gate turned from illusion to reality. But the colorful light gate flashed with bright light, as if leading to a brand new world. Finally opened. Finally, I can leave this fragment. The ancient sword sect kept us in captivity as food, and now we can finally escape and ascend to heaven. Finally, I'm going back to the main world. I don't know what the situation is in the Purple Mansion realm. Is a monster race in control of the world, wantonly keeping humans in captivity and treating them as food? Or is a human race suppressing the world, making the monster race tremble in fear? It's hateful. I took the absolute soul powder and lived in a daze for hundreds of years. Now that I have awakened my spiritual wisdom, I can finally leave. It's a pity that the ancient sword sect has been wiped out. I want revenge, but I don't know where to go. The Yuanying monsters present were all happy, with excitement flashing in their eyes. They seemed to be extremely excited, and tears flowed from their eyes. The world restricted them. If it weren't for the incomplete laws in the fragment world, they would have advanced to the god transformation stage, or even higher. Accompanied by the joyful voice, a Yuanying monster took the lead and entered the colorful light gate, but at this moment, a space tear came, and the Yuanying monster was torn on the spot and turned into meat paste. Impossible. We have set up the boundary gate, why can't we teleport there? Some monsters were terrified. A Yuanying monster grabbed a giant monster and threw it into the boundary gate. As a result, the body of the giant monster was torn and died on the spot. Impossible. How could it fail? Is there something wrong? The monsters present exclaimed, unwillingly, because there are still some things missing. At this time, a cold voice came, and an old man stood in the void, with silver hair and grey robes. He stood there like a mortal, but with a terrifying aura, as if he was the center of the world. You are a human. No, you actually transformed. A Yuanying monster said. You are a great demon of the divine transformation. Another nascent soul demon beast spoke, with a look of shock on his face. Here, there was actually a great demon of the divine transformation lurking. If it had not exposed itself voluntarily, many demon beasts might not have been able to detect its existence. Back then, I was just a wolf demon, with only the Purple Mansion cultivation base, so weak and pitiful. At that time, a human cultivator broke in here, and was eaten by me. After eating him, I became enlightened, awakened my spiritual wisdom, and then began to rise all the way, to become a divine demon beast. The old man smiled. His expression was cruel. There used to be 8 divine demon beasts here, but unfortunately they were suppressed by the absolute spirit powder, and lived in a daze. After I advanced to the divine level, I ate them all, and turned them into my food. In the past 200 years, I deliberately exposed this Sword Island fragment to attract human cultivators to explore this secret realm. So, one by one, human cultivators, who were pretentious and came to explore, were all killed by me. Now we have gathered 1,000,000 human souls, enough to open the boundary gate. As he spoke, a ball of light appeared on his palm, with a human soul on the light ball, struggling and roaring, with a hideous and terrifying expression. He waved his hand, and beat these souls into the formation. The formation made a hissing sound, and human souls disappeared one by one. The originally colorful light was changing color, and turned into a dark portal. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217, Death of Xuanji. Boom boom boom. These millions of human souls melted away and turned into nutrients for the boundary gate. Not enough. It's still not enough. The silver-haired old man frowned and said, the boundary gate can allow Yuanying powerhouses to pass, but it's not enough for Shenhua powerhouses to pass. It's not enough. It's still not enough for you. Are you willing to become a sacrifice for me? The Yuanying demon cultivators and giant demon cultivators present were all shocked and subconsciously gathered together, questioning Senior, what does this mean? What do you mean? The silver-haired old man said, the boundary gate is enough for Yuanying cultivators to pass, but it's not enough for Shenhua cultivators to pass. Please offer a blood sacrifice to the boundary gate. Kill. This old beast wants to sacrifice our blood. Kill him. How can I, Behu, be afraid of this old beast? Kill him and seize the boundary gate. So what about Shenhua? The 25 Yuanyings like us will surely be able to go against the sky and kill the Shenhua when we join forces. A large pack of wolves can kill a tiger, let alone a mere Shenhua old dog. Kill him. The Yuanying demon cultivators present were all furious, their eyes bloodshot, and they attacked the silver-haired old man with endless murderous intent. A dragon opened its mouth and spit out endless cold air, which turned into an ice sword, and stabbed at him. A white tiger opened its mouth and the power of Zhengjin gathered together, turning into Zhengjin divine thunder to slash and kill. A golden eagle made a move, and its feathers separated from its body, and turned into sharp swords, slashing and killing. A black tortoise urged its tortoise shell to turn into endless Zuanminki, sweeping over. A rabbit urged its eyes to turn into a charming force, sweeping over. Other Yuanying monsters also made moves, and various killing moves attacked continuously, as if they were going to drown the silver-haired old man. Silver Wolf Howling Moon. The silver-haired old man smiled, with a look of contempt, as if he was looking at a group of ants. No matter how many ants there were, how could they compete with the dragon? No matter how many ants there were, they were still ants. A silver giant wolf appeared behind him, and above his head, a silver moon appeared, emitting eternal light. Silver Wolf howling at the moon, the original vision of the silver-haired old man. Roar. The vision swept over, and suppressed the Yuanying monsters present. The silver moonlight fell, and suppressed the monsters present. Those Yuanying monsters felt as if their bodies were suppressed by a mountain. The 10th level attack power was weakened to the 7th level. When the silver wolf opened its mouth, countless attacks were swallowed up. Too weak, go to hell. At this moment, the silver-haired old man laughed and grabbed a dragon with his palm. The dragon was terrified, and its figure flashed, and it was already 100 miles away. But before he could catch his breath, he felt a huge palm falling from the sky and pinching his body. Crack. Severe pain came, and the dragon was pinched to death. The silver-haired old man waved his hand, and the dragon's body was thrown into the black boundary gate and turned into nutrients for the boundary gate. The color of the boundary gate became deeper and darker. Not enough. Still not enough. The silver-haired old man pinched another nascent soul monster, which was a golden eagle at that time, and was faster. But it was still pinched and killed on the spot, becoming a sacrifice for the boundary gate. Let's fight. The other nascent soul monsters were terrified and used their killing moves, but they were all easily resolved by the silver-haired old man. But every time the silver-haired old man made a move, it was understated, but he could pinch a nascent soul monster to death. No accidents, no miracles. The silver-haired old man easily suppressed the heroes. Once again, it illustrates how powerful the powerful gods are. There may be nascent soul cultivators who rely on group fights to kill gods. There may be nascent soul monsters who kill gods against the will of heaven. However, the demon cultivators present could not do it. When the 8th nascent soul monster was pinched to death, the remaining monsters fled away, no longer having the courage to besiege. But the silver-haired old man's expression remained unchanged. He waved his hands and captured one after another Yuanying monster beasts, and then they were crushed to death and sacrificed to the gate of the world. When all the Yuanying monster beasts were crushed to death and sacrificed to the gate of the world. The silver-haired old man frowned and said, "Not enough, not enough, still not enough. It's only halfway done, and we need sacrifices." The silver-haired old man took action and began to hunt and kill giant and monster beasts. About 350 giant and monster beasts were sacrificed. The gate of the world has only completed 7 levels. We still need to hunt and kill purple mansion monster beasts. But there are hundreds of thousands of purple mansion monster beasts. It takes a lot of time to capture them. It's better to sacrifice them to the plane. The silver-haired old man said calmly, and began to arrange the big formation and sacrifice them to the plane. In the void, a silver-haired old man flew through the void, quickly carving the formation pattern at an extremely fast speed. This is to sacrifice the plane with blood. Xuanji sensed the mysterious changes contained in the formation pattern, and seemed to have thought of something. This is a small world of 100,000 square kilometers, equivalent to the area of a ZJ province, and there are millions of monsters growing in it. However, in the eyes of the silver-haired old man, they are just ants. At this moment, a blood sacrifice is to be made to the plane. Can he stop it? No. Just when the silver-haired old man flew over, he noticed the formation here, and found his traces, but he ignored him. A mere human purple mansion cultivator is just an ant. Will humans care about the ants on the ground when they walk by? Not at all. Boom boom boom. At this moment, the formation pattern on the plane began to move, and the blood-colored light rose up. Along with the surging blood light, countless blood lights surged, and countless foundation building monsters began to die. Even some purple mansion monsters died. Am I going to die here? Xuanji sat on the stone tablet engraved with the 3 words, "Spiritual Food Garden," feeling a little bored. The blood-colored light rushed over, but was easily resisted by Xuanji. But this was just the beginning. But the formation was running, blood was surging, and the origin of the entire plane was extracted. Originally, the entire fragment world was lush and green, with a large number of spiritual medicines and herbs growing, and a large number of monsters breeding in it. But as the origin of the plane was extracted, the spiritual medicines and herbs withered and died. The broken plane was completely coming to an end. Crack. Like a broken house shaking, the plane began to break, and countless space-cutting forces surged and tore it. The plane was breaking step by step. Haha, the boundary gate is done. The silver-haired old man laughed and flashed into the boundary gate. After he entered the boundary gate, about 10 breaths later, the boundary gate broke. Crack. Crack. In order to condense the boundary gate, too much of the original power of the plane was extracted. The plane was shaking, impacted by the power of the void, and heading towards destruction. Sizzle. A force of void came cutting over. Xuanji dodged, but still cut a bloody wound on his arm, blood dripping on the stone tablet. 10 breaths later, the plane completely collapsed. The void shattered. The endless destructive force tore everything apart, destroyed everything. Even if a few purple mansion cultivators and golden core cultivators escaped the hunting of the silver-haired old man, they would be forever buried in the turbulent flower void. The turbulent flow of void tore everything apart, destroyed everything. Even if the incarnation fell into it, it would be dead. Only the refining void cultivators had a glimmer of hope. The next moment, a void-shattering force tore and destroyed everything. Xuanji's eyes went dark, and he lost consciousness. I'm dead. Chapter 218 Broken Pure Yang Sword. What is death? Death is the eternal darkness. The end of death is all nothingness, eternal darkness. Darkness submerges everything, and loses any perception. After the endless darkness, a ray of light illuminates the world. Xuanji opens his eyes and looks at the world. I'm not dead. He stands up, and opens his eyes. He sees that there is a turbulent flow of the void all around, with a terrifying force of space strangling, tearing everything apart, destroying everything, enough to make the nascent soul cultivators disappear into ashes and never recover. But it was blocked by a large grey hazy light, blocking the impact of the turbulent flow of the void. There is a stone tablet under his feet. There are 3 words engraved on the stone tablet, Spiritual Food Garden. It is this stone tablet that saved me. Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. The stone tablet is like a lonely boat, shuttling in the endless void, shuttling in a certain direction. This stone tablet is a treasure, and its grade may be unknown. He sensed the stone tablet, trying to determine its grade and function, and tried to communicate with it, but it was useless. The stone tablet did not respond. He could only let the stone tablet carry him through. Crack. Crack. At this moment, the stone tablet made a sound, and traces of damage appeared on the stone tablet. Not only that, the grey light shield around it also became dim and swayed, as if it was about to break at any time. The heart that had been put down was raised again, and the uneasiness and fear in his heart were increasing. The stone tablet shuttled through the void, resisting the impact of the turbulent flow of the void and the tearing force of the void. It was consuming huge power every moment. Once the power on the stone tablet was exhausted, Xuanji would completely perish when he lost his protection. Crack. Crack. The cracks on the stone tablet were increasing, and the light shield was shrinking. At this moment, an isolated island appeared in front of him. It was called an isolated island, but it was actually like a continent. Because the area is so large, it is a full 1 million square kilometers. However, this island has an amazing wound, as if it was cut in half by a sword. The island in front of him is only half of its original size, and some parts are still eroded by the power of the void, constantly heading towards destruction, and the area of the island is shrinking. But the stone tablet shuttled through the void and brought him to the island. Is this the Sword Island? Xuanji's mind was fluctuating. This is the Sword Island. Just then, a voice came, and the stone tablet shattered, and a broken sword appeared in the stone tablet. Only the upper half of this sword exists, and the lower half disappears. There is a strong pure yang aura on the broken sword, emitting a scorching light, as if a pure yang sun is about to rise. On the hilt, 2 words, Pure Yang, are engraved. Thank you for saving my life. Xuanji said gratefully. It doesn't matter, you won't thank me later. At this moment, the broken sword blocked a cold voice. Senior, is this the spirit of the Pure Yang sword? Xuanji asked. Yes. The spirit of the Chunayang sword spoke up and said, I'm the spirit of the Chunayang sword. The Chunayang sword used to be the magic weapon of Jiandao, but now the sword is broken. In the battle that year, I was seriously injured by Chunayang, and broke into 2 parts. One part of the sword disappeared, and the remaining part hid in the stone tablet to heal its wounds. I was supposed to sleep until the end of time, but your Chunayang true blood awakened me, and I woke up from nothingness. I brought you to Jiandao. Xuanji said, wait a minute, I remember that the old demon Hehuan refined a magic weapon called the Chunayang sword, but senior. No. The spirit of the Chunayang sword sneered, this Chunayang sword is not that Chunayang sword. Back then, Jiandao was split in half by the old demon Hehuan sword, and I was also cut off by that Chunayang sword, and have been in a deep sleep ever since. Xuanji smiled and said, senior, you have to recognize me as your master, and then let me inherit the heritage of Jiandao. No, you think too much. I was a top level magic weapon back then, how could I recognize a mere purple mansion cultivator as my master? Are you worthy? Just because you are so shameless? The Pure Yang sword said sarcastically, with contempt in his words. Senior, what are you going to do? Xuanji asked with a smile. Of course I will take over your body. The Pure Yang sword spirit sneered. Senior, why is that? Xuanji asked puzzledly. Can't people and magic weapons live in harmony? Who do you think you are? The Pure Yang sword spirit sneered. What qualifications do you have to let me let you be my master? Instead of recognizing you as my master, I might as well take over your body and use your life to start a new legend. Xuanji said, I heard that there are 5 laws of taking over a body. First, a cultivator can only take over a body once in his life, and the second time will definitely die. Second, only purple mansion cultivators, or even higher elms, can take over a body. Third, at the moment of taking over a body, the attributes must match. Fourth, after taking over a body, there will be a mismatch between the soul and the body. This mismatch is not noticeable when the realm is low, but when impacting the nascent soul realm, the heavenly tribulation is twice as fierce as the normal tribulation. Most of the cultivators who possessed the body could not achieve the nascent soul, just because the heavenly tribulation was too fierce. This also meant that the cultivators who could possess the body could only be Purple Mansion cultivators and Golden Core cultivators. Key training in foundation building were too weak, and the soul was too weak to possess the body, but the nascent soul cultivator was the strongest, and destined to possess the body. Fifth, after possessing the body, the luck was particularly bad, and all kinds of bad luck and tribulations would be encountered. Senior, possessing my body is disadvantageous and not beneficial. The pure Yang Sword Spirit said, you only know one thing, but not the other. A cultivator can only possess the body once. That refers to the Golden Core cultivator and the nascent soul cultivator. But after reaching the stage of transformation, the shackles of heaven and earth were broken in the dark, and the body could be possessed 3 times. You are the pure Yang Dao body, and I'm the pure Yang Sword Spirit. Our attributes are the most compatible, and we are most suitable for possessing the body. We perfectly fit the body, and there will be no rejection between the soul and the body. As for the fierce heavenly tribulation and bad luck, I practice the secret art of deceiving the heavens, which can deceive the perception of the heavens. The so-called rules can only restrain the weak. Do you think I care about those rules? The pure Yang Sword Spirit said, meeting me is your greatest luck. Soon, I will travel the world in the name of Xuanji. Xuanji will shock the world and become an eternal legend. After saying this, the pure Yang Sword Spirit turned into a white stream of light, entered the center of Xuanji's eyebrows, and began to seize the body. The spirit of the weapon is subject to the body of the magic weapon. If the body of the magic weapon is powerful, the spirit of the weapon is also powerful. If the body of the magic weapon is damaged, the spirit of the weapon will also be damaged. Recognizing a junior as the master, I don't know when it will take to recover. If this junior dies halfway, the initial investment may be lost. Instead of pinning your hopes on this junior, it is better to rely on yourself and start your life again after seizing the body. But the pure Yang Sword Spirit turned into a stream of light and began to seize the body. Chapter 219 Tragedy caused by the same name. But the pure Yang Sword Spirit turned into a stream of light, entered the center of Xuanji's brow, and began to seize his body. First, it wiped out Xuanji's intelligence. Then, the spirit's soul began to merge into Xuanji's soul and became one. At that time, they would return to the original state. It was called seizing the body, but in essence it was fusion. Only this kind of fusion could deceive the way of heaven. He was very confident about seizing the body. After that battle, he suffered a heavy blow, and his soul was less than 1% of his peak moment. But after all, he was the spirit of a top-level magic weapon, and his soul level was equivalent to the peak of the nascent soul. How could he fail in seizing the body of a young man in the Purple Mansion? The plan was being completed bit by bit, and the seizing continued, and it would succeed. At this moment, grey rays of light flashed, eroding the spirit of the spirit and obliterating it. No, what is this? This is a soul treasure. It's just a soul treasure. How can I be afraid of it? This is not an ordinary soul treasure. No, it's devouring my soul. No, I won't accept it. The weapon spirit fought back, but the more it fought back, the weaker it became. The grey light eroded its soul, and the soul was quickly melting, turning into a little bit of starlight and dissipating. At the moment of death, the weapon spirit seemed to understand. So, this is my fate. I thought that the fight with the pure Yang sword and being cut off was my fate, but I didn't expect that the real fate is here. The weapon spirit understood. At this moment, it sensed the soul. Above the soul, there was a terrifying calamity aura, surrounded by calamity, and was in the calamity without knowing it. He is my destined person. Sensing the dissipating soul and its own dissipating fate, the weapon spirit smiled bitterly. At the moment of death, it saw the calamity aura on the soul, and completely understood it. He once felt the aura of calamity, which was the calamity of becoming an immortal. If he could get through it, he could become an immortal weapon. If he could not get through it, he would turn into ashes. At that time, he thought that the pure Yang sword was his calamity. Since their names were similar, they would inevitably fight for their fate. But now it seems that it was the calamity that confused him. Not only did it implicate the Sword Island, but it also led to his own death. Later, he fell asleep in the stone tablet and met Xuanji, which was his only chance of survival. If he recognized Lu Xuanji as his master, he might be able to restore his peak moment and even become an immortal weapon. But that ray of hope was cut off by himself again. He thought that he could deceive the way of heaven and avoid the calamity by relying on the secret art of deceiving the sky, but he did not know that he could avoid the first day, but not the 15th. The more he avoided it, the more fierce the calamity became, and finally it turned into a deadly calamity. Bang! At this moment, the spirit of the weapon collapsed, and a series of light spots merged into the soul, nourishing Lu Xuanji's soul. In his daze, Lu Xuanji suddenly heard a voice. It seemed to be coming from a mobile phone. "Dear, virus is invading. Do you want to start antivirus?" If the host does not answer, the phone will automatically start antivirus sequencing. In the process of antivirus is completed. The virus has been removed. A voice came from the phone, and Lu Xuanji opened his eyes. Next to him was the broken Pure Yang sword. The weapon spirit had completely disappeared and turned into the nourishment of his soul. This is the third time that the weapon spirit of the Pure Yang sword has failed to seize the body. Lu Xuanji said that the weapon spirit failed to seize the body, and a trace of solescence began to merge into the soul. It seemed that there was too much solescence, and his head was dizzy. He stood up, staggered and could not walk steadily. He had no choice but to lie down again. At the same time, chaotic memories surged, as if to drown the original memories. After all, in his past and present lives, he only lived for 200 years, and his memory was only more than 200 years. But the Pure Yang sword weapon spirit has been around for 3 million years since its birth, most of which was spent sleeping, and the active time was also as long as 100,000 years. 100,000 years of memory, washing away 200 years of memory, was enough to make him lose himself. He could only seal these memories and subconsciously forget them until a specific environment would awaken the memories he needed. The strength of a cultivator is not only in his strong memory and photographic memory, but also in his terrifying ability to forget, and he would subconsciously forget a lot of unnecessary information. Otherwise, if his memory is too good, he would remember everything, which is not a good thing, but very painful. After 3 days and 3 nights of adjustment, he forgot most of the memories of the weapon spirit, leaving only a very small part of the memories. The mobile phone is purifying, and the pure soul origin is improving. The soul strength is improving, and the spiritual root level is improving. After the war that year, the weapon spirit was seriously injured, and only had a Yuanying level soul, but even so, it was a great supplement. Lu Xuanji felt that his soul was growing stronger, and his spiritual roots were growing stronger, but more of them were dormant in the depths of the sea of consciousness, and it would take 200 years to completely digest them. There are also some memories coming. It records why the ancient sword island was broken. In memory, when Hehuan Patriarch was in the nascent soul stage, he forged a sword named Pure Yang sword, which happened to have the same name as the Pure Yang sword, the treasure of Jiandao. After the inner disciples of Jiandao learned the news, they drew their swords angrily and stabbed Hehuan Patriarch, thinking that he had blasphemed the Pure Yang sword. Hehuan Patriarch also fought back. The two sides fought together, and in the fierce battle, the inner disciples of Jiandao were killed. So, after poking a hornet's nest and killing a monk from Jiandao, the monks from Jiandao came to chase and kill him one after another, and they could not stop. The contradiction became more and more serious, and finally a life and death battle. In the fierce battle, Hehuan Patriarch urged the Pure Yang sword to kill the top power of Jiandao, and even shattered Jiandao with one sword. This Taoist tradition that has been passed down for millions of years was completely destroyed. Looking at the grievances between Hehuan Patriarch and Jiandao, they had no hatred for killing their fathers, nor the hatred for stealing their wives, no genocide, and no struggle for the way. One walked the Hehuan way, and the other walked the sword way, and there was no conflict. But just because of the name collision, the two fought to the death. Not worth it. Lu Xuanji smiled bitterly, feeling it was not worth it. Just because of the name collision, even if it was a life and death battle, it was not worth it. Take Lu Xuanji for example. There are at least 80,000 cultivators named Lu Xuanji in the world. He can't stop others from using this name, just because he is called Lu Xuanji. Or simply kill all the cultivators named Lu Xuanji. However, just because the magic weapon has the same name, it is too domineering for the Sword Island cultivator to draw the sword and kill people. Xuanji sighed. If he encounters someone's magic weapon called Lihuo sword, Wushanding, or Tunshanding, will he kill people because of the name collision? No, it's not worth it. In the memory of the pure Yang sword spirit, there are many top level skills, such as Liang Yi sword skill, 4 symbol sword skill, 5 element general skill, Kang He sword skill, heart demon sword skill, spiritual sword skill, etc. Unfortunately, Xuanji only took a rough look and was too lazy to read them. He is not a sword cultivator and is not interested in swordsmanship. In terms of swordsmanship, his comprehension and aptitude are very average. In the past, Ancestor Jin once taught him swordsmanship for a period of time, but finally gave up. Rotten wood cannot be carved. In alchemy and refining, Xuanji is top notch, but in terms of swordsmanship, he is just rotten wood. Although he has a Lihuo sword in his hand, the Lihuo sword is more used to show off his elegance, or even to deceive the enemy. At the critical moment, he still relies on the Yuanzi Xiandao to decide the outcome. Chapter 220 Sword Inheritance. There are many monks in the world. When it comes to refining their own magic weapon, the first choice is the sword, the second choice is the tripod, the third choice is armor, and the fourth and fifth choices are others. The first magic weapon used by a monk is often a sword. The first magical power a monk learns is often swordsmanship. First of all, monks use swords, which is cool and calm, and extraordinary. There are flying swords in the world, but there is no flying tripod, flying swords, flying towers. Secondly, the material requirements of swords are low, and the lower limit of sword type magic weapons is low, but the upper limit is also high. Very little material can be consumed to refine ordinary magic weapons, or a large amount of material can be consumed to refine top-level magic weapons. As for tripods, towers, palaces, armor, etc., the same grade consumes a lot of materials. Only wealthy families can refine such heavy weapons. Half of the monks in the world use swords as weapons. Even if they have poor qualifications and poor comprehension, and are not the material for practicing swords, they will take out a sword and dance a few times. Whether it is Yuigang Heolan or pretentious, they always have to take it out and use it. With a sword in hand, who dares to say that I'm not a sword cultivator? At the beginning, when he was at the 3rd level of key refining, the first gift his father gave him was the autumn water sword. The first life magic weapon he refined after building the foundation was also the fire sword. Although he also understood that his talent in swordsmanship was very poor, and he was a piece of rotten wood under the guidance of Jin Leozu during the test later, he still took the lead in fighting with the fire sword. But just after refining the spirit of the instrument, the memory of swordsmanship surged like a tide, almost occupying all the memory space. Xuanji could only seal it, and subconsciously forget many of the swordsmanship memories, leaving only some general catalogs. First of all, there are hundreds of volumes of swordsmanship techniques that can be cultivated to the lowest level of transformation, and 3 of them are left by ascended immortals. If any of them is passed down, it can become a family's clan stabilizing technique, and can be passed down for thousands of years. Then, there were many sword perceptions, sword intent changes, 2-element sword intent, 4-element sword intent, 5-element sword intent, fast sword intent, slow sword intent, time sword intent, space sword intent, destruction sword intent, life and death sword intent, etc. About 18 kinds of sword intent. Accepting these sword intents, Xuanji became a top sword master overnight. If he were to give a sermon at this moment, he could talk about it in a very logical way, and many sword cultivators would kneel down and exclaim that he was a god. But that was all. These sword memories could change many people, but they could not change his nature of sword rotten wood. The main reason was that he lacked a sense of piety, lacked piety and awe for the sword, and lacked a spiritual touch for the sword. Sword cultivators all resonate with the sword. They are obsessed with the sword, live for the sword, and die for the sword. It's like Zeman Chugsu, who gave up women for the sword in his hand. As the saying goes, if there is no woman in your heart, you will be a god when you draw the sword. But I can't do it. There is no joy in playing with swords as in playing with women. If there were 10 women accompanying me, I would throw the Lihuo sword off the cliff right now. I lack spiritual touch for the sword. It's like a rich man who spent tens of millions of dollars to buy a famous painting by Van Gogh. He would comment on the painting, saying how good it is and how outstanding it is, but in essence it is just to show off, not because he loves it very much. It is more of a means of packaging himself, a weapon to show off. It's like, after a rich man sees the disaster area suffering from the disaster, he will donate tens of millions to help the African people. Will he worry about or feel sad for the African people? Not at all, because it has nothing to do with me. I don't care. These are people who have no relatives or friends with me. I won't have any extra feelings. Xuanji sighed slightly. Of course, he could force himself to hypnotize himself, hypnotize the resonance of the soul, hypnotize the touch of the soul, but it was meaningless. He gathered his thoughts and headed towards the Sword Island, taking the opportunity to collect some treasures. After boarding the Sword Island, Xuanji began to search for treasures. After the war, the Sword Island was cut in two. The Sword Island in front of him was just a larger fragment of the original Sword Island, but even so, there were some rich resources inside. At its peak, the Sword Island had 8 monks who had crossed the tribulation, more than 20 monks who had achieved the Dao, as well as 500 monks who had achieved the Void Refining Realm, 8,000 monks who had achieved the Spiritual Transformation Realm, 300,000 monks who had achieved the Nascent Soul Realm, and as many as ants. This was still the main vein, and as for other affiliated forces, the number of monks was even greater, and there were even more disciples. At the peak of the Sword Island, it dominated the world, and was the leader of the righteous path in the world. It suppressed the demon race, to shrink in their ancestral land, and suppressed the demon monks to tremble in fear. All the monks in the world were shocked. However, at the peak of the Sword Island, it was in a deadly fight with the Hehuan demon. At that time, the Sword Island monks killed countless demons, and did not care about a small demon. But who would have thought that in the end, the Hehuan demon would destroy the Sword Island? It is said that when the fierce battle reached its peak, the Sword Island monks used the art of summoning gods to invite an immortal clone to come and suppress the Hehuan demon, but was killed by the Hehuan demon. In the end, the Sword Island was also chopped into pieces and disappeared in the turbulent void. On the Sword Island, there are still incomplete formations. Under the scouring of time, the power is less than 1/10,000th of the peak moment, but it is not a big problem to kill the golden core and the nascent soul. However, all this cannot stump Xuanji. In the memory of the spirit of the weapon, there are various memories of the Sword Island formation, the flaws, weaknesses, and loopholes in the formation, etc., which are all very familiar as his own home. It is not like his own home, but this is his own home. With these memories, Xuanji easily bypassed the formation, passed through some weak points, and went deep into the Sword Island. As he walked, he gradually saw a treasure house in front of him. At the peak moment, such a treasure house was heavily guarded, with a head AO monk sitting in the palace and a 9-level formation guarding it. Even the great master of the crossing tribulation could not break into it. But after that battle, the formation here was broken, and after experiencing the erosion of time, it was only powerful enough to kill Yuanying monks. Activating the secret, the formation suddenly had a loophole, and Xuanji entered it. The treasure house was divided into 6 floors. Entering the first floor, there were only some swords, some elixirs, materials, talismans, formation plates, etc. But when Xuanji stepped forward and just touched the flying sword, this 4th grade spiritual treasure immediately shattered and turned into powder and scattered on the ground. He opened the medicine gourd again, and the golden elixir inside gave off a foul smell, completely rotten, and could not be taken. He checked other magic weapons, elixirs, etc., all of which were rotten and looked unrecognizable. Time is the biggest enemy. After hundreds of thousands of years, many elixirs have long since decayed and cannot be taken, and magic weapons have also become so rotten that they break at the slightest touch. Chapter 221 Void Treasure Box. There was not a single harvest on this floor. Entering the second floor, there were infant formation pills, infant transformation pills, grade 5 creation fruits, and grade 5 spiritual treasures, but they were all rotten and broken and could not be used. Entering the third floor, it was empty, without any elixirs, spiritual treasures, talismans, array plates, array flags, etc. The fourth floor was empty. The fifth floor was empty. The sixth floor was empty. The seventh floor was empty. Because of the attack by the old demon Helen, at the call of the Supreme Elder, some treasures in the treasury had already been rewarded to the monks who participated in the battle in advance. If they won, it would be a reasonable reward, which could improve the combat effectiveness of the monks who participated in the battle. If they lost, the treasury would be useless, and they would be giving spoils to the enemy. So, the next 5 floors were empty. Walking on the Sword Island, Xuanji was looking for the remaining treasures. Arriving at the Dan Palace, there was an alchemy furnace. These alchemy furnaces were of the 5th grade, and a few were of the 6th grade. However, Xuanji only knocked them with his palm, and these alchemy furnaces broke into pieces like broken copper and iron. There were also some elixir remnants inside, but they had been decaying for a long time. He opened the medicine gourd next to him, and found a 7th grade elixir inside, which could last for 5,000 years. However, when he opened the gourd, it emitted a foul smell. The 7th grade elixir inside had decayed, and could not be taken. In the equipment training hall, he found some rough pieces of magic weapons, as well as some formed magic weapons, but they broke into pieces with just a knock. In the Spirit Beast Garden, there used to be monsters raised here, including cranes, white tigers, and 9-tailed foxes, all of which could be used as mounts, but now it is empty. In the talisman making hall, the talisman ink inside had long dried up, and even the stone tablet of the stronghold was corroded beyond recognition. There used to be many precious swords inserted on the sword mountain, but he pulled out one at random and just tapped it lightly, and the sword broke. Spiritual treasures need maintenance, need to be nourished by blood, and nourished by true ki, but because of long-term isolation and lack of effective insurance, after tens of thousands of years, these spiritual treasures have lost their spirituality and their power is constantly declining. He just tapped it lightly and it broke. When he arrived at the medicine garden, he wanted to find some spiritual medicines, and then there were only some medicinal ashes on the ground. After a long time, the spiritual medicines were also boiled to death and turned into ashes. He began to collect the medicinal ashes, which are all excellent fertilizers that can be used to cultivate soil fertility. I'm still late. If I came here more than 100,000 years ago, I could still find some intact elixirs and intact magic weapons, but now, under the erosion of time, the elixirs are rotten and the magic weapons are broken, and they can't be used after all. Xuanji sighed and walked to the Patriarch Hall. In the Patriarch Hall, the top bosses born in Jiandao throughout the ages are enshrined. To enter the Patriarch Hall, one must at least have the cultivation of Hedao. Entering the Patriarch Hall, there is a statue placed inside, enshrined above. Among them, there are 3 statues, the most conspicuous, located in the center, and the statue is more than twice as high as the other statues. These 3 statues are Chunayang Daogen, Liangai Daogen, and Fiayu Daogen. Chunayang Daogen, wearing a Confucian robe, looks like a Confucian scholar. He is also the owner of the Chunayang sword. He stands there with a gentle personality, like a modest gentleman. According to historical records, this Daogen has the best popularity and the gentlest personality. Liangai Daogen, standing there, has a domineering aura, like a generation of sword kings dominating the world, with the most terrifying aura. In his era, Jiandao entered its peak era. Fiayu Daogen is a woman, wearing a blood-red outer robe, like a female evil star, a female devil. At that time, the sword sect had already begun to decline, barely maintaining the situation of the top 10 immortal sects. After the birth of Fiayu Daogen, he first started a massacre on Jiandao Island, then on Xiandao Island, and then on the Demon Dao lineage. Wherever he went, blood flowed like a river. He was a real big devil. 3 ancestors, and ancestors of all generations. Xuanji greets you all. Although I'm not a disciple of Jiandao Island, let alone a sword cultivator, and my swordsmanship level is very poor, I will also worship here for a few incense sticks. Lu Xuanji said, and took out 3 incense sticks directly. The smoke was lingering, and the mist was filled. He lit it, and inserted it into the incense burner beside him, and bowed 3 times. Then, he turned around and left. Youngster, stay for a while. At this moment, a voice came. The voice was soft. Who is it? Lu Xuanji was surprised and looked around, but couldn't find the source. Look behind me, I'm Liangai Daojin. The voice continued. Lu Xuanji looked back, and saw that the statue of Liangai Taoist seemed to come alive, and began to speak. Senior, it's Liangai Taoist. Lu Xuanji asked. It's me. Liangai Taoist said, after Jiandao was destroyed for countless years, there are still cultivators who came to Jiandao and worshipped Jiandao. What a pity. Are you the remnant of Jiandao? No. Lu Xuanji said, I just happened to come in here. Liangai Taoist asked, are you a sword cultivator? No. Lu Xuanji said, a senior once taught me, but later evaluated me as a sword cultivator. Sword Dao Rottenwood. I lack sincerity and passion for swordsmanship. As long as it is useful, it can be a sword, a stick, a long knife, or a big tripod. As long as it can defeat the enemy, there is no difference. A sword cultivator Rottenwood has come to Jiandao. Interesting. Liangai Taoist laughed, and at this moment, this deity just finished his cultivation, sensed the incense and worship, and following the cause and effect, sensed your breath, so a trace of breath descended. You are an interesting person. I feel the breath of a fish hook on you. Cause and effect are the line, desire is the bait, fishing is like fishing people, those who are willing to take the bait. In your body, I feel that there are no less than 10 cause and effect lines, that someone is calculating the ability, and the number is quite large. Some I can see through, and some I can't. It's interesting. Interesting. Lu Xuanji frowned slightly, and was about to ask who was calculating him. Liangai Daojin said, on the 8th floor of the treasure house, there is a void treasure chest left before I ascended. There are some small gifts in it, just for you. Lu Xuanji frowned and said, no merit, no reward. Why is this senior? Liangai Daojin said, I just dropped a chess piece casually. This chess piece may die in the nascent soul stage, or it may soar into the sky. It depends on your luck. Success is also a joy, and failure is not a big loss. As for whether you take it or not, it's up to you. Senior gave me an opportunity. Don't you need to test it? Lu Xuanji asked. Test? Liangai Daojin smiled. Test is meaningless. Over the years, I have seen too many people with extraordinary talents, amazing comprehension, strong Taoism hearts, and many people with amazing luck, but many of them ended up in obscurity. Man proposes, God proposes, and God proposes, and God proposes, but God proposes. Many immortals really think that they have profound Taoism and can deduce many branches of their destiny, but they don't know that the more they know, the more unknowns they have, and the less they can see the future. Let everything be as fate dictates. Chapter 222 Daoji Zanjin. First update. Please subscribe. Smoke was rising in the ancestral hall. Liangai Daojin spoke calmly. His words were free and easy, and calm. The power of immortals is not only in their powerful magic and spells, the power to overthrow the world, but also in their deduction of fate and perception of the future. The future has countless possibilities and infinite changes. Making a small choice now will cause huge variables in the future, causing the deduction of fate to be unpredictable. There are so many changes and the changes are so complicated. The more you see, the more you know, the more confused you are, and the less you can see the future. Senior, why did you choose me as a chess piece? Lu Xuanji smiled. I didn't choose you as a chess piece, but I have many chess pieces. They spread opportunities and adventures in the universe. These adventures are big and small. When you get my inheritance and my adventures, there will be cause and effect in the dark. Under this cause and effect entanglement, chess pieces will be born one by one. Liangai Daojin smiled and said, in the universe, there are at least 10,000 chess pieces like you. Some chess pieces have fallen, some are rising, some are unknown, and some are advancing triumphantly. Every moment, new chess pieces are born, and old chess pieces disappear. The confrontation between immortals is not just a collision of magical powers and spells, but a collision of chess pieces and destiny. Chess pieces carry the destiny of immortals. The stronger the destiny of chess pieces, the stronger the destiny of immortals. I won't say much about the reason. Everything is up to you. At this time, the divine thought transmitted the information of the treasure chest and disappeared later. The statue turned into a statue again, turning into its usual appearance. The void treasure box. Should I take it or not? Xuanji hesitated, but he was determined in less than 3 seconds. Take the void treasure box and get the benefits before talking about other things. As for becoming a pawn of others, being calculated and used by others, it is just a small matter. People are not afraid of being used, but they are afraid that they have no value. Being used by others at least proves that you are valuable. And useless people will not be used, but they will not have any value. The more unwilling many people are, and do not want to be used by others, the lower your value will be in the eyes of others, the worse your interpersonal relationships will be, and the smaller your chance of success will be. Being used by others is not terrible, it depends on who is using you, how others use you, and what his attitude is after being used, which is the most important. Being used by good people is just right. It is a noble help. If you are used by bad people and sold to make money, then you will have to settle accounts afterwards. Put away your thoughts and go to the treasure house again. When you reach the 7th floor of the treasure house, you feel all this, but you don't find the existence of the 8th floor. He lit 9 incense sticks directly on the ground, chanting a spell of about 300 words. When the spell ended, the void was torn apart, and a big hole appeared, turning into a devouring force. Suddenly, Xuanji was sucked into it. When he opened his eyes again, he was already on the 8th floor. The 8th floor was a subspace, only 10 meters long and wide, and only 5 meters high. In front, there were 3 boxes, about 2 feet long, 1 foot wide, and 1 foot high. On the golden box, it was written, Pure Yang. On the black box, it was written, Liang Yi. On the pink box, it was written, Fei Yu. These 3 boxes were left by the 3 ancestors. At this moment, the black box and the pink box turned into a stream of light and disappeared. The golden box flew and hit Xuanji's arms. He grabbed the golden box and observed it carefully. It seemed that there was no gap. He urged a lot of force to suppress it, but it didn't move at all. The box was very solid. How to open it? Xuanji frowned and said, it seems that Liangai Daojin forgot to tell me how to open the box. This Liangai Daojin was also a careless person. He actually forgot to tell him how to open the box. He thought of all the ways, such as burning with fire, impacting with mana, and even dripping blood to recognize the master, but he still couldn't open the box. It was a false alarm. He opened the storage bag and put the golden box into the storage bag, but the next moment the storage bag exploded and the golden box fell to the ground. Damn it. Xuanji was speechless. Scan the phone and search for relevant information, Xuanji said, and the phone entered the scanning process and began to extract relevant information. Mobile scanning, database extraction, information is being checked and searched. Daoji Xuanjin detected, cough cough cough. Xuanji coughed, and a trace of horror flashed in his eyes. This is Xuanjin. Xuanjin is the main material for refining Xian Qi. Of course, Xuanjin may not be able to refine Xian Qi, but it is very likely to refine top-level magic weapons. Daoji Immortal Gold can record the texture of heaven and earth, engrave the great Dao, suitable for refining cauldron-type magic weapons. Daoji Gold is extremely solid. Even if a cultivator of the refining void reality strikes with all his strength, it is difficult to leave a trace on it. The disadvantage is that it can be melted when encountering the pure Yang true fire and used for forging. Is this really immortal gold? Xuanji was curious and went forward to test it. He would only regard it as a kind of refining material, not immortal gold. The divine object is self-concealed and looks similar to ordinary materials. Ordinary cultivators have never seen immortal gold. They can't confirm that it is immortal gold at all, just by relying on the records in some books. Immortal gold also emits a strange aura, which can distort the perception of cultivators and make them subconsciously ignore its existence. If he hadn't subconsciously used his mobile phone to test it, he would have ignored the golden box and appeared to be buying the box and returning the pearl. Thinking of this, Xuanji took a deep breath, urged the pure yang true fire, and began to carefully burn the golden box. The solid box softened. After about a moment, it was cut open under the burning of the pure yang true fire. There were only 4 things in the box: a purple fruit, a book, a token, and a scroll of silk. Above these 4 things, there was an instruction manual. When I opened the instruction manual, I saw that it said, "Younger cultivator, I don't know who you are. Since you can open this box, you must have a pure yang dao body. Since you are destined to be with me, I will introduce the 4 items. The purple fruit is called the luck fruit. The fruit is purple and can be transformed into purple luck after being consumed. The scroll is called the Pure Yang Sutra, which is suitable for the cultivation of the Pure Yang Dao body. You can learn from it and comprehend it. The token is called the Pure Yang Token. It is a special spiritual treasure that carries the 3 magic spells of the original body and can be used to save your life. You can go to the Sword Island, become a disciple of the Sword Island, communicate with the pure Yang Sword Spirit, use the token as a token, and let it protect you. The Scroll of Silk is a marriage certificate. You can hold this marriage certificate and go to the Dragon Palace in the East China Sea to marry a dragon princess. However, I hope this marriage book will never be used. A man has to rely on himself to have 3 wives and 4 concubines in the world, not a marriage book. When you plan to use this marriage book, it means that you are the enemy of the world and can no longer survive in the human race. You have to go to the East China Sea to find a backer and become a son-in-law of the Dragon Palace. Chapter 223 The Secret of the 9 Revolutions. Immortal Gold. Open the treasure chest and look at the things inside. Xuanji sighed in his heart. Chunayang Daojin had considered everything that should be considered for his successor. Unfortunately, there were some things he had not expected. Concentrating his distracting thoughts, Xuanji opened his mouth and swallowed the luck fruit. When he ate it, it was icy and cool, like eating strawberries, with a grassy aroma in the taste. Xuanji closed his eyes and digested it. At this moment, the light of luck was rising above his head. The luck turned orange, but there was a touch of purple in the center of the orange. Gurgle. As the luck fruit was digested, the luck on his body was boiling and increasing. The orange turned into yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. The purple luck, surrounding the top of his head, was like a purple sun, emitting a scorching light that seemed to blind his eyes. But, as the luck turned purple, Xuanji felt that he seemed to have become the son of luck, as if he had become the most beloved child of God. When you go out, you will encounter all kinds of adventures. Beauties will favor you, noble people will help you, and even if you encounter danger or powerful enemies, you will be able to escape danger. As his luck turned purple, he seemed to have turned into a treasure pot, naturally attracting all kinds of treasures, and all kinds of adventures gathered around him. His luck will get better in the future. Xuanji used the art of hiding his luck to hide his luck. The color of his luck changed again, turning into orange, and it looked ordinary again. This ordinary appearance can also bring a sense of security. Then, he opened the Pure Yang Sutra again, which described how to awaken and strengthen the Pure Yang Taoist body, how to bring the Pure Yang Taoist body to the extreme, and the vision of the Pure Yang Taoist body, the use of the magical powers of the natal society, etc., all of which were brand new descriptions. Looking through this scroll, Xuanji felt a sense of sudden enlightenment. So this is how to bring the power of the Pure Yang Taoist body to the extreme. In tapping the potential of the Pure Yang Taoist body, he was unable to bring out even 1/10 of the power of this physique. There is no invincible physique, only invincible strongmen. Because those invincible strongmen, they rely on their own comprehension, constantly ponder, and explore and develop a certain physique to the extreme, and their power is extremely terrifying. On the contrary, some physiques, because there is no powerful strongman who has not been born to explore this physique, the potential of the physique has not been fully utilized. He closed the scripture, took the Pure Yang order again, and dripped blood to recognize the master. Holding the Pure Yang order, you can join the Sword Island, get the cultivation of the Sword Island, and get the recognition of the Pure Yang Sword Spirit, and let it be a protector. Unfortunately, the Sword Island has been destroyed and can't be counted on. At the peak moment, the pure Yang Sword Spirit is equivalent to a great power in harmony with the Tao. With him protecting the Tao, you will hardly die if you don't commit suicide. It's a pity that the pure Yang Sword was severely damaged and the weapon spirit was seriously injured. Not long ago, he failed to seize the body and was directly swallowed and refined by him, and the so-called protector is gone. Holding the pure Yang order in his hand, sensing the breath inside, he can turn it into 3 attacks to save his life. He directly put the pure Yang order into his danshan. Finally, he picked up the marriage certificate, which had about 500 words on it, and wrote the content of the marriage contract. At the beginning, the pure Yang Daoist Lord made a bet with the Dragon Lord, and in the end, the pure Yang Daoist Lord lost. He promised that his successor would definitely marry the Dragon Palace Princess as a Taoist partner in the future, so there was this marriage certificate. He took a rough look at it and put it into the storage bag. He counted the harvest, half of the pure Yang sword, and a box made of Daoji gold. There were not many things, but each one was a fine product. After leaving this subspace, he walked to the location of the teleportation array and began to set up the teleportation gate. He didn't know how to set up the teleportation gate in the past, but in the memory of the pure Yang sword spirit, there was a specific method, and the difficulty was not great. It only took 3 days to complete the construction. With a stream of light, Xuanji disappeared. Swish. When he opened his eyes again, feeling the sun in the sky, Xuanji laughed. Then he opened the Beidou map and determined the direction. It was about 300 miles away from Xiang Mountain. He got up and went to Xiang Mountain. You're back. When they arrived at Xiang Mountain, King Lian looked at him and breathed a sigh of relief. Greetings, ancestor. I almost died in that secret realm, but I also gained something. Xuanji said with a smile. Is there some elixirs in there that may cure me? King Lian asked. No. Xuanji said. No, it seems that I will perish. King Lian said sadly. That may not be the case. Xuanji smiled and said, although I failed to find elixirs, I did find the complete Liangai sword art to cure Ancestor Jinxie, which is described more clearly in it. As for why Ancestor Jinxie failed in the 9 transformations, it was because the god was missing something. King Lian asked, what is it? Xuanji said, immortal gold. What is the relationship between immortal gold and the 9 transformations of the golden pill? King Lian asked. The 8th turn is fine, but the 9th turn must take the immortal gold madness, melt it into the golden pill, and the 9th turn can be stable. But the old ancestor Jinxie obviously didn't know this common sense, so he failed halfway. Fortunately, the senior sealed him, and there is still a chance to save him. Xuanji said, as for the 9th turn, taking the immortal gold is common sense. Because it is common sense, it is not recorded in the secret book. Because it is common sense, it is not recorded. No wonder my Jin family doesn't know it. King Lian smiled bitterly and said, my Jin family thinks that we are born in an aristocratic family, but in the eyes of those top sects, we are just bumpkins, just Navorish. In the wild land of the southeast, in front of the 3 major sects of the Chu state, King Lian has a sense of superiority. After all, the Jin family is a family in Zhongzhou and has produced powerful masters of the divine transformation. But in the eyes of ancient forces such as Yuhuman and Jiandao, the Jin family is just a bumpkin. For many Jiandao cultivators, it is almost common sense, but for the Jin family, it is almost a secret. That's immortal gold, and those ancient sects don't have much. King Lian said. It just so happens that I picked up some fairy gold fragments there. Grinding them into powder can help Ancestor Jin break through the golden elixir. Xuanji said with a smile, took out a small bottle and handed it over. There was golden powder in the bottle, about 10 grams. Taking the bottle and feeling the breath inside, although it looked like ordinary metal from the outside, King Lian did not have a trace of doubt because there was no point in deceiving her. This is 10 grams of fairy gold. Holding the bottle, King Lian said, in the market in Zhongzhou, 1 gram of fairy gold is worth 1000 top-grade spirit stones, but it is still in short supply. The life savings of a divine transformation cultivator may not be enough to have 1000 top-grade spirit stones. Now I understand why ordinary cultivators cannot condense the 9-turn golden elixir. One is that they have no money, and the other is that they have no fairy gold. These 10 grams of fairy gold are too valuable. Even if you sell me, I'm not worth 1 gram of fairy gold. How can I repay you? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224. The 9th transformation is completed. After another brief conversation, Xuanji left. Before leaving, he left a jade slip and 10 grams of immortal gold on the table. King Lian picked up the jade slip and read it with her mind. After just one reading, the jade slip broke into pieces and turned into nothingness. The jade slip recorded the Liang Yi sword scripture in 9 volumes, with a more complete version and more complete content. The principles and techniques contained in it were more mysterious, wonderful, and indescribable. But when she wanted to speak, she couldn't speak. When she wanted to write, she couldn't write on paper. Even when the senior cultivator wanted to search her soul, he couldn't get the relevant information of Liang Yi sword scripture. The result of collecting the soul was a blank, and no relevant memory could be found at all. The cause and effect in the dark distorted and tampered with everything, making the sword scripture unspeakable, and unknowable. This is Liang Yi sword scripture, not Liang Yi sword technique. Comparing the 2 volumes of skills, King Lian suddenly realized and thought of some things recorded by her ancestors. When the Sword Island fragment was opened, the ancestor went there and found a roll of animal skin on the corpse of a god. The animal skin recorded the Liang Yi sword art, a total of 6 volumes. Liang Yi sword art has also become the family's cultivation method of the Jin family, which can be practiced all the way to the peak of the god. Compared with the Liang Yi sword sutra, whether in terms of mystery or understanding of the scriptures, the Liang Yi sword art is much simpler, like a shortened version, like a castrated version. If I'm right, after the god transforming cultivator comprehended the Liang Yi sword sutra, he continued to delete and revise it according to his own understanding and comprehension, and thus the Liang Yi sword art was formed. One is called the sword sutra, the other is called the sword art. One is the immortal scripture, and the other is the god transforming scripture. The superiority of the intentions is clear at a glance. King Lian's eyes flashed with wisdom as he analyzed the 2 volumes of scriptures. The higher the level of the scriptures, the better, because the difficulty of comprehension, the physical requirements, and the requirements for comprehension are also correspondingly increased. When a cultivator practices the skills of his predecessors, it is impossible for him to follow the path of his predecessors completely. Instead, he should modify it to suit himself. The best and strongest skills are not as good as the skills that suit him best. The modified Liang Yi sword art is most suitable for the cultivator who has transformed into a god, but correspondingly, it is not suitable for her. It is like rabbits like to eat carrots, but tigers do not like to eat carrots. But now that the master version of the Liang Yi sword scripture is in her hands, she cannot completely copy the scripture to practice, but she has expanded her horizons and opened her eyes. She can walk her own way with a new pattern. It has little impact on the present, but it will have a far-reaching impact after entering the nascent soul. Concentrating her thoughts, she looked at a porcelain bottle again. There are 10 grams of immortal gold in it. According to the type, it belongs to Dog immortal gold. To impact the 9 revolutions golden pill, she actually needs to take immortal gold, which also indirectly proves some of her ideas. In history, the Jin family has produced many geniuses. They are not inferior to Xuanji in terms of qualifications, understanding, opportunities, state of mind, will, etc. However, when they were about to attack the 9-turn golden pill, they all failed. I didn't understand why at that time, but now I understand that it was because of the lack of immortal gold. 1 gram of immortal gold is enough to bankrupt a god. Even if you have money, you can't buy immortal gold without channels. Xuanji has gained a great opportunity by entering the Sword Island fragment. He has more than 10 grams of immortal gold, and there are more opportunities. There are some great adventures on him. If I attack him, these adventures will be mine. Thinking about the Liangai Sword Sutra and the 10 grams of immortal gold, King Lian seemed to think of something. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he was possessed. His body was ready to move, and he was about to go and kill people to grab treasures. As long as he was killed, everything would be his. Bang! King Lian hit his chest with a palm and spit out a mouthful of blood, and his blood-red eyes became clear. How can I, King Lian, be an ungrateful person? King Lian suppressed her restlessness and urged the Sword of Wisdom to cut off the evil thoughts in her heart. People can become bad and do whatever it takes, but they cannot have no bottom line. If they have no bottom line, what is the difference between them and beasts? She spent 3 days suppressing her restlessness. King Lian began to retreat and attack. With Jinx's reference and the help of immortal gold, when she refined 3 grams of immortal gold, her aura was surging, and then it was restrained and turned into a calm appearance. The 9th transformation was completed. Then, she came to the original body again. The original body was sleeping and could no longer refine immortal gold and fell into a deep sleep. King Lian turned into a stream of light and merged into the original body. She began to manipulate the original body's body and refine immortal gold. This time it only took 1 day to refine 5 grams of immortal gold. The original body also entered the 9th transformation. The 9th transformation is completed, Jinxie said happily after opening his eyes and feeling the changes in his body. The next moment, a green light flashed, and King Lian split from the original body and turned into a separate individual again. Feeling the changes in the original body, King Lian said jealously, "The original body is the original body. Whether it is potential or combat power, it is higher than my clone. You girl, you are jealous of yourself. Is this interesting?" Jinxie smiled. The two were originally one, inseparable. At ordinary times, they can split up and act separately, have their own thoughts, but in essence they are all one person. But the original body Jinxie tends to be emotional, and the King Lian clone tends to be rational. There are still 2 grams of immortal gold left. Why not integrate it into the Liangai sword? King Lian suggested. Of course, after integrating the immortal gold, the quality and grade of the natal magic weapon will be greatly improved. Jinxie nodded and said, "It's just 10 grams of immortal gold. The gift is a bit big." At the peak of the Jin family, if a cultivator took 10 grams of immortal gold to the Jin family and asked me for marriage, the clan leader would definitely agree to the marriage. Although I have outstanding qualifications, good talent, and handsome appearance, I'm not as valuable as 10 grams of immortal gold. Why not pledge yourself to him? King Lian sneered. If I were still the girl I was before, I would be his Taoist partner. But the Jin family's family feud has not been avenged, so what qualifications do I have to talk about love and love? Jinxie restrained his tenderness, and a trace of determination and domineering flashed in his stern eyes. I can only let him down. How is your cultivation? King Lian changed the subject. At the time of the 7th transformation, my cultivation is only 30% of that of a Yuanying. At the time of the 8th transformation, I have half of that of a Yuanying. At the time of the 9th transformation, I'm comparable to a Yuanying cultivator. Jinxie said proudly. Now, if I meet a Yuanying cultivator, we will have to fight to see who is stronger. But the price is that I feel that my golden elixir is as solid as a rock and there is no way I can break it into a Yuanying. Originally, my probability of entering the Yuanying stage was 7, but now it has dropped to less than 1. Chapter 225, Zhao family exterminated. As the sun sets, the earth seems to be covered with a golden gauze under the golden sunlight. The mountains behind exude a faint golden color, which looks sacred and majestic. Click, click, the footsteps stepped on the leaves on the ground, making a crisp sound. Looking back at Xiang Mountain, Xuanji's back was already wet. Hoo-hoo. He panted slightly, thinking about what happened just now, and felt careless. I didn't expect that fairy gold would be so valuable. Then, he felt a faint murderous intention, greed, hesitation, reluctance, love, etc., and all kinds of complex emotions flashed. Finally, King Lian waved his hand and let him go. He didn't reward him with anything. Thinking back to the scene just now, Lu Xuanji quickly understood that King Lian had murderous intentions towards him and wanted to kill him and take away the treasure. Since he could take out 10 grams of fairy gold, and he had other fairy gold and other treasures on him, it would be better to capture him and plunder his opportunity. The so-called benevolence, morality, family rules, friendship between teachers and students, life-saving grace, etc. can't stand up to realistic considerations. For some treasures, many brothers will turn against each other. For some opportunities, Taoist couples will fight each other. For some secret techniques, masters and apprentices may turn against each other. Human nature cannot withstand the test, so don't test human nature. Taoist couples still turn against each other for the sake of interests, but his relationship with Xuanji has not reached the level of Taoist couples. At that moment, he felt King Lian's complex emotions. He wanted to take action several times, but gave up several times. He hesitated for a long time and finally waved his hand to let him go. When walking down Xiang Mountain, Lu Xuanji was sweating all over, and his arms were shaking. If King Lian took action, he could only use the pure Yang order. Fortunately, the worst situation did not happen. I was careless, or I was affected by the pure Yang sword spirit, which made me a little arrogant and a little extravagant. Lu Xuanji exhaled, walking and reflecting. After swallowing the memory of the weapon spirit, he subconsciously forgot many unimportant memories, sealed the redundant memories, and let his memory take the initiative, but he was still inevitably affected by the memory of the weapon spirit. Back then, the pure Yang Taoists spent 500 years to smelt 10,000 katas of immortal gold and forge the pure Yang sword. So, he thought the value of immortal gold was just that. He easily gave King Lian 10 grams of immortal gold, but he almost killed someone to steal the treasure, and almost shed blood on the spot. Immortal gold is nothing to the pure Yang Taoist. It is also nothing to the pure Yang sword spirit. But for many low-level cultivators, it is precious. 1 gram of immortal gold is worth 1000 top-grade spirit stones, which is equivalent to the life savings of an ordinary divine transformation cultivator. If you take out 10 grams of immortal gold as a betrothal gift and ask for marriage from a divine transformation female cultivator, the divine transformation female cultivator will definitely agree to be a Taoist partner. Of course, the greater possibility is to kill someone to steal the treasure. I originally planned to use 10 katas of Daoji immortal gold as the material to forge a Bingpo sword for Xuanji, but now it seems that it is not possible. Lu Xuanji took a deep breath, flew on the sword, and went home. After returning to Changyuan Mountain, the Lu family became more prosperous after experiencing the catastrophe. It has been only more than a year since I left here, but it seems like 1,000 years have passed. Husband, you're back. I missed you. I missed you, too. The two snuggled together, talking about love and what had happened recently. When Zhao Lei of the Law Enforcement Hall was fighting with Lu Xuanji, Xuanji came out of retreat, then attacked Zhao Lei and severely injured him with the Ice Soul Thunder. After killing other monks of the Law Enforcement Hall, Xuanji and the Great Elder gathered the remaining monks to hide and were about to leave the state of Chu and seek another way. But at this moment, there was a scene of the King Lian Patriarch threatening Xiang Mountain and Zhao Lei committing suicide to apologize. The Law Enforcement Hall took action, attacking the Zhao family on the grounds that the Zhao family was seriously infiltrated by the demon cultivators. The Zhao family is a large family of immortal cultivators, with 2 purple mansion monks, more than 30 foundation building monks, and more than 1,000 key training monks. It can be said that they are very powerful, but after the Law Enforcement Hall took action, all the monks of the Zhao family were killed, and then the Zhao family's spiritual veins, minds, spiritual medicines, mortal population, etc. were all handed over to the Lu family intact. The Lu family monks returned again and began to rebuild the family. Recently, the elders have been busy. They began to severely punish the monks who escaped and enforce the family rules. The Zhao family is finished, Xuanji said. Thanks to the Jin Patriarch, otherwise it would be my Lu family that is finished. Lu Xuanji said thankfully. Yes, thanks to the Jin Patriarch. Xuanji was talking about other things. Lu Xuanji listened and secretly felt lucky. This time, he once again witnessed the horror of the Jiandan patriarch, calling a deer a horse, and confusing black and white, and many monks acquiesced. The Zhao family is as powerful as the Lu family, but because of the wrong choice, it went from a chess piece to a discarded piece and suffered genocide. This incident also made Lu Xuanji further recognize the nature of the world. First of all, the human world is essentially lawful, and Jiandan monks must also abide by the rules, and cannot kill the lower level monks at will, otherwise they will become demons, and have no place to stand. Even the Yu kingdom, which is known as the demonic kingdom, will not wantonly kill its own people, but will kill the population of other countries through war and plunder. But while maintaining order, the strong are respected. The so-called rules can restrain the strong in those Jiandan monks. But if you think that Jiandan monks are afraid of rules and will not kill people, that is a big mistake. Or thought can make you a Buddha or a demon, all in a Jiandan thought. After 3 days of indulging in joy, Yuan went to retreat. Lu Xuanji began to count the harvest. The pure yang sword, which is close to the grade of an immortal weapon, although it has suffered heavy damage and only a broken sword is left, weighs 5,800 kilograms. Thinking about 10 grams of immortal gold, King Dian was so excited that she was just about to pledge her life. Looking at the pure yang sword made of about 5,800 kilograms of immortal gold, you will understand what a big shot is. In the memory of the weapon spirit, the pure yang sword was forged from 13 kinds of immortal gold, and it was also the top one among the 9 grade spiritual treasures, and it was only one step away from being classified as an immortal weapon. But Lu Xuanji wielded the pure yang sword without using his true essence. He only relied on the sharpness of its surface to cut through everything and destroy everything. This broken sword could be used as a trump card to decide the outcome of a battle. After the blood sacrifice, the broken sword merged into his body, and a tattoo of a broken sword appeared on his chest. But the broken sword was ringing, absorbing the blood and ki emitted by the pure yang dao body, repairing the damaged wounds. At the same time, the broken sword also emitted a stream of energy, transforming his physique and improving his potential. Both sides were making progress together. In Lu Xuanji's perception, under the feedback of the broken sword, his qualifications, physique, blood, potential, etc. would slowly increase. It might not be seen in 10 or 20 years, but after 200 or 300 years, there would be a steady improvement. He even felt that his qualifications were not inferior to those of the heavenly spiritual root. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.